destiny. It belongs to the underdogs.
Even the ones with the Gallowhorn, or
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cheap Seat Critics podcast. I'm one of your hosts, the Geeky Writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
and I'm Sprinks. And hey, if you're listening from an arena football stadium, you can find us over on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, Blueski, LetterBoxd, average out numbers and graphs of what we have, a visual side of things, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify. If not your cup of tea, don't you fret. Tons of audio platforms where you could be listening to right now. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. And silence falls across the field.
And there's the intro.
Well, we already had it.
It
already happened.
That's what I assume. That's what I assume what is going to go into the silence. And today we're covering American Underdog, another based on a true story football movie.
Seems to be a common thread.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
actually happy.
See if that happens next week.
Yeah, that's funny. I
Maybe
think
next weeks, actually.
we might be out from under the bridge when regards to this after this movie. But it's funny. We started with the fictional one, and then we had like 3 in a row of like semi-historical, based on a true story films in the center of the season. But yeah, so American Underdog. I feel we should probably start with the histories as we always do, gentlemen. And let's start with you, Sprinks.
Cool. Never heard of this ever. Didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me all that much.
Yeah,
To be honest with you.
my most shocking thing was finding out this came out in 2021.
Yep.
Really?
I thought this was like a 2010
Yep.
movie.
That's what I was thinking.
Nope, 2021. That is correct. That is one of the facts I have. 'Cause I figured it would have shocked you guys if you didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very fair. Crimson, why don't you go next?
Much like Spriggs, I never heard of it. So I only saw it once for the podcast. Zachary Levi, we've seen in Video Game High School as Ace, the FPS teacher, for those who remember. Got to see Jane. Lots of familiar faces in this movie that I was surprised to see. Outside of that, I got nothing. Kurt Warner, I know the name of the guy. It was not one of the ones I could name, but I've heard of the name. So, yeah, that's it.
Yes. I heard the alarm, so give it a sec. And yeah, and that's very fair. For I didn't know much about Kurt Warner either. I knew the story behind him, so I'll start with my history there. There are 2 like really big underdog famous stories in the NFL that typically get spread around. One is about Tom Brady because he got a very late draft pick. He was a very, very late draft pick, and so he won a lot of Super Bowls. And then we have Kurt Warner, who didn't get drafted at all. And when the story of Kurt Warner was told to me, it wasn't that it was shocking to believe. It was unsurprising to me that it eventually got turned into a movie. And so yeah. We'll get that more in the fact section. My history with the film specifically is I remember seeing a trailer in the theater with my uncle, and I remember neither of us going out to see the movie, though we did consider it. Yeah, that is my short history of this as well. So it's a new watch for me, but I am familiar with the history of Kurt Warner at least.
Seems this movie wasn't very marketed.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in the facts. Well, it's gonna be alluded to in the facts, I think. Um, yeah, there wasn't really much for a marketing campaign for the movie. Um, and I mean, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I guess that gut tells us right into the facts, unless anyone's got some history they've forgotten. No one stuck Kurt Warner on their Madden team or
Nope.
something to that effect.
Nope.
Fair enough. All right. This movie was directed by Andrew Irwin and John Irwin. It was written by John Irwin, David Aaron Cohen, and John Gunn. And it was released December 25th, 2021. And honestly, I don't know why it was released on December 25th, but makes sense, I guess.
Christmas and the religion aspect and the connection there. And
yeah, I mean, there's that, and also, like I said, the Christmas football tends to be like a big thing on Christmas Day. So there is a market for it, but I don't think you get a lot of people going to the theaters on Christmas Day typically.
Not to mention 2021 being COVID, so theaters still weren't that busy at that point.
Yeah, okay. Now we're towards the end of COVID, but yes, we're still kind of going through it at that point in the time. It's got a runtime of 112 minutes, with a budget of 25 million and a box office of 26.5 million. So I don't think this movie made its money back, even with the very low marketing stuff that they did.
No,
I'd say they probably lost money.
That explains it. Low marketing would result in less revenue.
Yeah. But yeah, there's not, like I said, I don't think it made money, which, having watched the movie, is actually almost kind of a shame, because it actually is a pretty good biopic, which goes into other parts of my facts section. Brenda, Kurt Warner's wife, recounted the story of how they met, and it is, while it's not quite one-to-one how it happened in the movie, it is a very, very close approximation as to what actually happens.
Okay.
Do you know what was different?
No. But from what she says, it's essentially the same thing. It's she wanted nothing to do with him because the bar was more familiar with who Kurt is, because Kurt's a famous college football player. But that would be I think the main difference that I know off the top of my head from when I was reading. So Kurt was just more popular at the bar, I think, was the main thing. And she wanted nothing to do with him at first. So kind of true with how it plays out in the story. And as it does take place a big part of the film, it is true that Kurt Warner was stocking shelves at a grocery store for a while before he got drafted into the NFL. So had a long way to go.
No, I would understand that.
Yeah. And it is true he did win his Super Bowl his first season playing a starting quarterback at the NFL. So that is also true. With how this story ends, that is all real. That's how it happened. Additionally, the real Kurt Warner and Brenda Warner were involved with the making of the movie. Warner was giving Zachary Levi tips on how to throw football and how to look like an NFL quarterback. And in addition, Zachary Levi spent several days around the Warner family, which gave him a sense with how they all interacted with each other and bounced off of each other. And Kurt Warner and his wife were also present on set for about half of the filming.
Well, I'm glad they're involved in it.
Or they were.
If I had a movie being made about me, I would like to be involved.
They were executive producers.
Yeah. And so I would say that I think helps to why the biopic feels so accurate to Warner's stories, because they were directly involved with it. And while they obviously truncate some things just for the sake of pacing, I would say a lot of the film is very close to what Kurt Warner's story actually is. And as I said, the story of Kurt Warner in and of itself is like easily to make. The movie writes itself for in the case of Kurt Warner, and so they just really needed to give a faithful adaptation, I think, for that his life story to make a decent movie out of it. And I guess with that, I'm out of facts because we're not very many fun facts to find on the film for this one. But yeah, take everything I said with a grain of salt, audience. I did find a lot of it on the internet. And I guess for that, gentlemen, unless you guys have any facts to add outside Crimson, because I know Crimson has one more to add.
What? No.
Do we have anything to dive in? Do we have anything else to say?
As a matter of fact, I do.
You do?
Yeah. Was the music in this movie identifiable to anybody?
When you say music, you mean like the vocal stuff?
Oh my God. For fuck's sake, the score. Every time, the score. I don't care about it's not the soundtrack.
You said music.
Yeah,
the
score. The score.
You said music. That did not define which one it was.
The score.
No, that was on you. No, I didn't.
I recognize some of the. I always confuse it. I recognize some of the insert songs. That's the. Didn't recognize any of the OST.
I know the breadcrumbs you're setting from last week, though, because we might have heard this guy twice already this season, right?
Yes, and this is the third time. It's John Debney, who did Draft Day and Blindside.
Likes his football, I guess.
I guess so. Or he gets typecasted.
Yeah. Or he got typecast. It's
maybe
really weird to get typecast as a like a music creator for films.
They like the previous football work.
I guess you're right. It's true. It is the third film that we've covered for this season where he's done the score.
Curious if he's done other football movies, or we just happen to pick 3 he's involved with.
Yeah. We got one more fact from Crimson. So.
Yeah, this is on American football. I know, shocker.
Yeah. All right. So. If you've gotten this far in the season, or if you're just dropping by, we are talking about American football. So, just last warning before we dive into the film proper. We are doing an act structure. We're going to be popcorning between each act, and we're going to obviously start with Act 1. Man, it'll be a day if someone starts with Act 2. We're going from the opening, where the opening of the film where Brenda to where Brenda asks Kurt to move in after he gets cut from the Packers. And we will start with Crimson.
Okay, starting with Crimson. I wish we had more backstory with the bartender that just gave up one of their patrons' address to some dude.
Comes across as a bit convenient, doesn't it?
It really does. Whether or not it's real or not, because like you said, it's mostly accurate, I still think the movie should portray some connections there other than just, bartender who knows where you live just told me a stranger or a stranger to you where you live.
Best I can figure based on the movie is that Kurt's a regular, because he and obviously his friend come here multiple times. So I feel like that maybe that's part of it. But I think it would be nice if it was more explicit, so I don't have to infer and do the writing for the film for itself, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, because I just found it weird. 1, the bartender knows where she lives, and 2, is willing to give an address out just like that. I don't know if you got anything to add with that, Springs.
No, it seems. If Kurt's not a stranger and well known, being the college football guy, then I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think if I were to put this on the damage side, it probably wouldn't get higher than a nitpick. It is a convenience, but I can infer a lot of what's going on behind the scenes for it to make sense. So it's not really high. I can't really be high on the damage ladder if it's on there at all, I think.
I
But
can believe they know where Kurt lives. So if anything was to
yeah,
happen, it's like, oh, we know where to find the guy.
that's true. And I guess Springs jump wherever you want to.
Yeah, it wasn't your fact, so, and I wasn't going to look it up because, I don't want to spoil myself on something I'm not hosting. The actor who plays Zach, is he blind?
I don't know, but I would imagine not.
Yeah, I don't know. He probably isn't, just for ease of filming, but I have no idea.
Okay.
Which I guess going off of Zach, poor Jesse, sidelined to oblivion. She gets like the dance at the wedding, and that's mostly it.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in my notes, but
what,
there's a questionable scene that she's just not in.
having looked it up, child actor Hayden Zoller, who portrays Brenda Warner's son Zach in the movie, is blind in real life. So
Oh, okay.
Wow,
yes, he is.
pushing boundaries.
Pushing boundaries.
Well, good.
The thing you were alluding to, Springs, with Jesse, is it something you're going to hold on to or add?
No, I just don't know where it is in which act, but there's a scene where it's Brenda and Zach, and Jesse's not there. It's not like brought up like why she wouldn't be there.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Zach's always with her, but Jesse's always left behind. Even when the parents moved, Jesse's kind of just on her own, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I wish there was some more with Jesse in the film as well. Obviously, Zach is the one that connects with Warner the most over the course of the film, so we obviously would get more of him. But it does feel a little bit weird that she's sidelined. All right. Uh, I guess I'll jump to one of my facts, unless either of you have anything more to add or facts. Point.
On Jesse? No, just she's there, pretty much.
She exists, yeah. I'd be curious to see what they would add for her if they decided to add more to the film or whatever. But obviously, it just didn't happen. Um, Again, I'll start with the opening. I'll start with the opening narration. One, it's always great to see Joe Montana. Thumbs up. I think Joe Montana again being the baseline of inspiration of what a lot of people perceive as like their idealized quarterback because Tom Brady looked up to him, Kurt Warner looked up to him. So there's him being referenced more than once in over the course of this podcast is kind of warranted as well one of the most famous players in the NFL. But I like that the film sets up at least Kurt Warner's first problem within that he has to address as a QB, which is he has to learn how to stay in the pocket and take the hit and then just get up and go again because that's can be a lot of what being a quarterback is in the NFL properly, which is just standing in the pocket, throwing the ball, and taking the hit anyway after you've gotten rid of the ball. So I think it works as a reference, and I think it's a good introduction to Warner's character, how it transitions into, we see Kid Warner outside playing football and kind of imagining, himself in the future. I think it's all good setup as to how like his dream formed, pretty much.
Yeah, my reservation with the pocket thing was I just felt like they were beating it over the head. They said it like 6 times in such a short period of time. That was kind of just, it felt really repetitive to me. Pretty much every time the coach spoke, it's just talking about the pocket.
I think I would have liked the pocket more if it showed that works better. Because when Kurt left the pocket, it still worked.
Yeah,
and when he stayed, he just got beat up every time.
Well, I was believing in that skirmish that was on purpose.
At least the kill Warner skirmish, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what.
How many times it just kept going. Like the defensive line, I don't think was trying to defend someone sneaking through the pocket to train Kurt.
Yeah, I would say, staying in the pocket is a very important thing for a QB at this point in time. However, I would say in the modern era of football, that is a less important trait because obviously you have Patrick Mahomes who runs up and down the sidelines and stuff like that.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, obviously
I knew
you're
that.
a football fan. Yeah, sure. Well, you should. You're a Chiefs fan, or you play the Chiefs and that.
He's a Dolphins fan.
Yeah. So I think it's hard for it. Kind of that kind of advice for me is because I actually have watched football. That advice in isolation is not necessarily a good thing. I get they're simplifying the advice down for audiences. So that was kind of that wasn't a subjective nick for me, but it was just like I had to kind of wrestle with that. Okay, it's technically a different era of football.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah, and I guess it got beat
90s.
into him because I really thought it was going to be brought up in the arena games, and it didn't. That one was focused on his speed.
Yeah, when you are a pocket quarterback, what matters most is your quick release from how fast you can get the ball to your hands. And generally speaking, the countdown that he does for the arena practices, this is jumping ahead, but we're popcorning a bit anyway. Generally speaking, that is good advice. You have to either throw the ball in the first 3 seconds, or you're gonna have to start improvising. So the arena stuff does help make him a better quarterback by adding on that next skill set that you need for being a pocket passer.
Springs, I kind of cut you off. What were you saying?
I don't know what I said. I was in agreement or said something, and you just ran with it with the ball.
Touchdown.
that was the least enthusiastic touchdown.
Yay! We made it, guys. I would say to add on to what you were saying in this, Sprinks, about you wish the pocket passing became more relevant, either in the college stuff or later on when he was actually properly in the NFL. I'm kind of in agreement with that because the film put a lot of emphasis on it.
I just said make it a problem. Make it like he's cocky and he's not staying in the pocket, but the result of it isn't working. Everything we see of him going out of the pocket makes a play, a complete pass, and it works. So I don't understand the problem with it in a game if it's working.
Yeah, I think because he does it every play, we need more repeats of the first play that happens. Because when he first does it, he gets bulldozed, like he gets tackled, right? We need another couple instances of that. Because moving out of the pocket is a very effective thing to do in football, but you can't get away with it every single time. So I wish we saw more failures in that sense.
I'd say then go to a team where they know, oh, okay, we're against, this team, and they have Kurt Warner on their team, and he likes to stay out of the pocket, so, veer left, veer right, get him. And they know that because he plays the same play every time. And then he's arguing with Kurt's going to argue with the coach saying, no, coach, I know this works. We've done it many times. And he goes, yeah, but they know, to show it's actually failing. Like he's constantly doing the same thing over and over and everyone's learning. that that's his weakness.
Yeah.
Then get him into the pocket. Like, that would make more sense. And he's actually fighting because, no, I can complete the passes. I know it works. But in that game of example, showing that the enemy team knows his weakness, then he needs to be trained to be in the pocket more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd
So
be for
it's
that.
one of those things. Yeah, I would be for that as well. It's one of those things I'm giving a pass to, but I think we're all in agreement that I could use a little bit more work to better integrate it into the film.
Yeah.
At least that's where I'm at with it.
I don't know. It's odd. It's like the coach is like saying, because being out of the pocket, what is the detriment to that? What
He's
is
not
People
well
have protection.
protected.
But he's not getting hit.
The detriment is injury usually, and like I said, that's fine in college, but in the NFL proper, when you're older, it takes longer to recover from injury. People are trained to kind of hunt you down more easily, so it's a lot more professional in the NFL from college.
Then I think
So there is a detriment to it.
okay, well, the coach
but-
should have explained that then. That without
Yeah,
the protection
I
of the
think
team
so as
staying in the
well.
pocket, he would have been injured more. And is more inclined to break. He's like, if you're in the pocket, you get tackled, you can get back up and continue. If you're out of pocket and you get tackled, you could be out the season. Like, explain that. Tell him that.
Yeah, there's also a level. It's also a mentality thing because you do have to be really cool under pressure, and if you're constantly running away from pressure, you might be more rattled if you do get sacked in the pocket. So there are levels to this, I think, but I'm in agreement with you, Sprinks. I would take more explanation from the coach, essentially.
It also gives that information to the audience, too. Because my confusion
Yeah,
is like, why is this
exactly.
such an important thing when it isn't needed?
Yeah, I mean the explanation for its importance is in the narration, but at this point we're more seasoned now with how football works over the course of our
Well, true,
coverage.
but the narration could be like, oh, this is the greatest, but this is the story of someone who's different. And are they different because they did the same thing? Because the thing here is that he broke the record for the pass, but is it like, oh, he does something differently than what everyone considered the best to do? Or is it like, depending on that? It's like, is he just better than the best, or is he different than the best? In either case,
Well, by the
works.
end, he's the better.
Yeah.
By the end, he's kind of just worn down to be a normal quarterback. At least that's what it looks like through the film.
Yeah, I would say, well, talk about real life for a second. I don't think Kurt Warner won more than that one Super Bowl, but it's a very memorable win for the Super Bowl. Um, so he had better stats than Joe Montana in a single game, which would be the Super Bowl game. I don't know what career stats versus Montana, what Warner would look like because I didn't think to look it up. But yeah, I mean, again, it just boils down to I kind of wish they went more into the technicalities of football to explain why this is a very important thing for him to learn. Because as someone who's watched football, I can infer why these specific lessons are being taught. But again, I watch a different era of football compared to when Kurt Warner played. So pocket passing is not as big of a thing in the current NFL.
I wouldn't know.
Right?
I know.
If you have more, I'm going somewhere else with it.
No, I got nothing else to add. So take it away, Sir
Okay.
Crimson.
How do you guys feel they did with portraying time in this? And Sprinks, you can answer first.
The time, I think it's okay.
Okay. Because we have 7 years here. And there were moments in here where I would have really appreciated a time gap knowledge. And it was bugging me. And then I found one spot where I think it was inconsistent, where we see him Xing out days in September, being September 8th, being the current day, leading up to draft day. And then we have him at the bar where he sees
Brenda.
Brenda. Brenda on the calendar, and it said August. So it's the previous month, and it's not like a couple days late, and they're like, oh, do we just haven't updated the calendar? It's over a week. So it kind of seemed like an easy fix in like the prop department, just to make that a September calendar and not an August calendar.
I see. The calendar might not be in the bar accurate to the date, and more so used as a poster.
It might just be showing off. It might just be showing off Brenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish there was a bit more backing to that, because to me, it kind of just seems like she's just a patron there. Like she's just like anybody else who shows up and dances. There's no like special call outs to her, like Brenda, this is for you, and then plays a song or something. Like she just seems like a normal person there.
I see it as she's a regular.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues. To give my 2 bits on time overall with the film, I think the only discrepancy is that I don't think the kids age up as much as they would for it being the film crossing across
Jesse
7
does,
years.
but Zach doesn't.
Yeah, Jesse does. Zach doesn't. That would be my one. That would be my thing for it. But it's not too bad outside of that. And with your suggestion, Crimson, I'm kind of with Sprinks on that one. I think it's easier. I can infer that it belongs to. She's just a regular, and she won a contest, so they're kind of celebrating it for her. Or maybe she won the contest there, so that's why that she's still up for the August thing.
I don't think the film did enough to give him that. Because if we're going with the competition was for the bar, like the best jeans calendar, then each month should be representative of somebody important, a winner.
True, but no
and then
one
if we're not
who
going,
frequents that
and then
bar.
if we're not going for the bar, yeah, and if we're not, and then if it's not bar related, right? Let's say it's just a jeans competition or whatever, and then she's a regular patron at the bar, so why wouldn't they keep it up?
I think the very fact that we're asking these questions is kind of the reason I brought it up.
No, you're
we don't
asking
have
these
the information.
questions. I think an easy one line could just be Kurt at the bar with Brenda saying, "You know it's September," and points to the calendar. That's it. And then the explanation of why she's on it, why it's August. And
sure, easy fix. Just on the movie. That's all I'm talking about.
I still don't have an issue, so
I don't even have a nitpick.
it doesn't. Yeah, it's not on my
It's
damning
just
board. Sorry.
It's a cultural difference.
I see what you're trying to get at. Yeah, I see what you're getting at here, but there's multiple inferences that can make that kind of undercut it, and they're not giant leaps in logic. So,
Crimson, what is your experience with like country bars or country establishments?
what a question! What's everyone's experience with?
I'm just saying it might
bar?
be a thing of like the culture is not too known for Crimson kind of thing.
But the ignorance card, I don't. I've been to a couple Western restaurants. I don't think I've been to a bar or explicitly a bar.
Let's see.
Okay. Chain restaurants or independently owned?
Independent.
Oh, okay.
At least as far as I'm aware. I don't think they're part of a chain.
Well, I guess since we're on you asked the question, let's all give our experience for country bars, just because I'm curious. I've been to a few country bars, most of them independent. Um, I would say the most one that was like this film was kind of a deep South American state bar, um, where people had walked in with cowboy hats, and you kind of get the everybody as Kurt did with had his thumbs in his belt, that sort of thing. It's very very like that. Um, I there are definitely like posters and uh, calendars that are up like that, but I honestly couldn't tell you because I wasn't bothering to look at the date at the time or the poster girls. Um, so I that would be my direct experience related to this movie, but it is anecdotal, so take it with a grain of salt, audience. And I guess that leaves you, Sprinks Country Bar experience.
I've been in a few, but I grew up every summer visiting family in a place that was quite country, that had a very independently owned country establishment, like bar and grill thing. And they did have images of residents or regulars on the walls and their accomplishments. That would kind of be like the small talk or the kind of trophies of the community.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I have the calendar of this movie set. Like, oh, it's a regular's accomplishment that gets shown off in the bar.
Yeah, well, actually, that you're right. That is separate from where my brain went. But yes, you're right. I do remember seeing a lot of like local accomplishments in certain places.
Yeah. Actually, I know there. I guess I would call it country style of a restaurant the three of us have all been at. That I know over by a stage area for live performers, they had photos of past events on the wall.
Starts with a C. What you're thinking?
Starts with a C.
It's true. I do love that place. It was good. That is another place outside of obviously missing you too. I love that place still. I miss that place. I talk to you guys every week, but I can't eat there anymore.
No,
You're
well,
just not dedicated enough, all right? You just got to spend the money to fly here.
yeah, just cross the pond.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more likely to win a Super Bowl than be able to do that weekly. All right. I assume your opinion remains unchanged, Crimson.
Yeah, I mean, my point was never that it's impossible to have some representation of regulars. It is stuff I've seen at restaurants. That wasn't my position. My position was the movie didn't establish it. So yeah, I have the same position.
Okay, just an easy one-line fix.
Yeah, easy one-line fix or easy pan or cam. Like have a camera pan over to like maybe Warner's on the wall for winning a college game or a high school game. You know, there could be something like that. Because we do hear that he won an award when he's talking to his agent later on in this act. So I do think that they could have made a quick pan, show him on the wall. Also shows him like he's very maybe not the most famous person at the bar, but kind of lets you, and he's hung on the wall there. So I think a quick pan or a quick line would fix that as well. That was a Crimson point, so let's go with Springs.
Oh boy, man, they really got their setting down for that bar. With was it Neil McKay was playing the line dancing, the laughter, hoot and holler over at the pool table. Yeah, I think they got that pretty well shown off. I would have sat down, got a glass of something, and waited for Josh Turner to be queued up.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't feel like a cat cafe. It definitely felt like a country bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's missing from the country bar is some harmonicas, but we don't necessarily need that.
Yeah, it's a little more rustic, but yeah. For a second,
Some
I thought,
guys fighting over a lost pool bet.
Yeah. Never underestimate the novelty factor. Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were laughing at Josh Turner.
I mean, I laugh at country music.
Oh.
Who keyed my car?
Audience, because they can't exactly defend themselves, I can let you know that Crimson is a big and rich guy, and Ryder is a Glenn Campbell.
Christian Kane.
Well, yeah, but Christian came for one song.
That's all I need. I don't listen to country music.
You know what? Let's give Crimson Gene Autry. There we go.
Yeah. To kind of elaborate a little more, I don't hate country music, but I'm very particular about it. I guess I'm kind of like Warner in that sense. It's not my go-to music style, but I get why some songs work for me. But broadly, they usually don't.
Yeah, Tim McGraw. Oh,
That was the last episode. Southern Voice.
Yeah, bringing it full
Hardy,
circle.
I do. It's a small thing and it's a minor thing. I like that Kurt Warner's like editing his highlights, and that's when before his friend drags him out to the bar, because he got put in for the first time at that point in the game, so he's just trying to put together what he can to make a pitch for the NFL.
Yes. Question about his friend. Is that his last name he's being called by, or is that actually his first name? Because I have never heard anyone called Hudnut before.
It sounds like a character
is...
you'd see in a PlayStation 1 game.
Hudnut? Like a Twisted Metal?
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like a video game character name. Like a retro video game character name.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it could be a nickname for like Hutchinson or something like that, but I guess the film doesn't really make that clear.
I'm leaning as just a nickname, but
It
the
is
movie doesn't
probably
really say anything about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning last name. Because it does get shortened.
Any reason?
I think he just calls him like Huds.
Like Hudnut gets shortened to Hud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it was a nickname, nicknames don't usually get shortened.
Sometimes they do.
It's kind of unorthodox to name your friend after their last name. It's not impossible, but it's pretty unusual.
To just call them by their last name?
Yeah, it's like their normal name. It's not just like.
I think it's easier
fine
for
because
a
they're on the
thing.
team together.
Yeah, like that's the name on their jersey.
It's fine because they're on the team together. Yeah, and also that's what the coach calls them, so that they would kind of fall in line with that just for the sake of ease. But I think normally you would be right, Crimson. But I think with sports, the fact that they're both in the sports kind of muddies it and turns it into a gray area. That was a me point. So we will go to Crimson.
Scrimson, all right.
Yeah, Crimson almost started with an S.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
I didn't even hear the S. All right, but I'll take your word for it though.
Sounded like it. This home invasion that Kurt did. I was a little taken back by how calm everybody was. This is full on stalker territory. He followed her home, and as far as she was aware, she left him outside, and the next time she sees him, he's in her house with her son.
It is true that he did show up the day after, because what is another thing that is accurate about the night that they met is Brenda warned Kurt that she was a divorced mother of two, and told him she would understand if he didn't want to talk to her again. And he did show up the following morning on her doorstep with a rose, asking to meet her kids.
Did she let him in?
The fact section did not go into detail. So
see, that's an important part.
But
that's
it is
true fantasy feeling part.
Yeah, it is true that he did show up, but I do agree. I think it is a more of a movie moment thing because it expedites it. I get why it happens, but I'm kind of with you, and it's like it doesn't feel real. I guess.
Casually walks in, looks around, knows where the batteries are to fix a radio. It's just.
Well, to be fair, Zach is the one showing him where all those are.
If he knows where the batteries are, why doesn't he just put in the batteries?
He's blind.
Because he's blind?
Well, that doesn't mean he's stupid. He knows if a
No.
radio has batteries in it.
Well,
or not.
I think it's weird that there's loose batteries in a bathroom. That'd be
Yeah,
like
I
water
mean, it could be for
damage.
electric toothbrush. I don't know. No, there's just a lot of here that just feels off.
To me, the most off thing
Yeah,
Plus
is
the mom's reaction.
Zach, being a young blind kid, opens the door willingly to a stranger to invite into the house. To me, that's the weirdest part because Kurt doesn't walk in; he's invited in from Zach, who takes his hand.
Well, to the point of view of Brenda and the mom, they don't know that.
No, they don't. But us, the audience of what it's showing, it was on Zach. And then Kurt could have explained, "Oh, I didn't walk in. You know, your son here needed help with the radio."
So, it is true that he did show up for her the last night, and she immediately got a tour of the house. So Brenda is the one that showed him around the house after
And
arriving
that's
the
why
next
it
day.
feels like it's a fantasy, because it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it is a fantasy the way it happens, but obviously I think they're doing it to get doing it to expedite Zach and Kurt Warner's relationship. But in reality, Brenda immediately showed him around the house, so she was fine with him visiting the next day. And obviously, outside from being taken aback and completely surprised to see him.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes, before we go, question marks, hinting at the pretty big debate we had on that one regarding the attractiveness of the quote unquote stalker being acceptable in certain circumstances. We don't have to rehash that whole
Chris
debate
Evans
here.
is way
but
hotter than Zachary Levi.
yeah, but Zachary Levi's no ugly guy.
No, but he's
So
like a
we don't have to rehash the whole debate. We already
he's like a
had that
big kid.
in before we go check it out. But if he was some like revolting slob from Crashbox, I don't think she'd be so inviting.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that.
A lot of it would hinge on, for me, my only bit on this, a lot of it would hinge on how much she valued their interactions the night before. I think the last thing I'll add to this, because I brought up the real history of it, I think there's a way to get the scene they want between Zach and Warner on their own, but I think it would start with Brenda wanting to give him a tour of the house, but let's say she has to do something with Jesse and that takes her away from mid tour, then you can have Zach come in and he gets his scene with Kurt Warner in the bathroom and stuff like that. So I think there's a workaround to make it feel less fantastical, though at least with compared to reality.
That would be a good fix. She invites him in, gets distracted with Jesse, and then they get the one-on-one time with Zach. Fits.
Yeah, I think that works better than Zach opening the door for Kurt. As sweet as it is, I do think it's sweet, but it does feel a little bit out of step with the movie in a fantastical sense. All right, Sprinks. You can add on some more, or you can jump somewhere else.
I don't know much I have to add on. Let's see where to go. I do like kind of the draft day situation of getting all together, and Brenda's concern is Zach's birthday's the next day, and then the next shot, or I guess scene for that matter, is Brenda putting the kids in the car, and that automatically shows like, oh, he was not drafted that day. There was no like showing the television program, that's the end for today, see you tomorrow kind of thing. It was, I think that's enough show to say they didn't have a scene of celebration that he was drafted. So I do like that quick cut because it does give an answer.
Oh yeah,
They
and
don't
him
have
at
to.
the party, he's got like a sad face, but trying to look happy for the kids.
Yeah.
That too. I think that's all good stuff. Also, the mother double checking with him is like, "Are you sure you Brenda's the person you want?" Because worried mom is gonna worry. Um, but I do like the both the scenes you brought up for, I guess both the reasons you laid out, but also it's efficient in the sense of what you were saying, because they didn't have to make it explicit because it tells a story in of itself without having to be explicit about it. And then obviously when Zachary Levi, but Kurt Warner shows up at the party, and then I like that he and Brenda are they exchange what needs to be said silently, but again they're there they're making sure the kids are happy first, and I really like that. It's a good character moment for Kurt Warner, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell if the silence was me or
No, it was just you had made a statement. I didn't really have much to add to it.
very fair. Um, I like the way he describes football in the bar. It's the only thing he ever feels he's good at. It just feels like more than a game to me. And he's just like, as long as I have a ball in my hands, then I feel like everything's going to be all right. And I think that's a good insight to how he feels as well. And again, it's just the delivery that you get from Kurt Warner. And again, it just reflects the general love of football that he has from when he was a child. So I like that it's reinforcing the character trait in a more meaningful and pointed way, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's conveying it to Brenda, who doesn't really do sports. So I think it works in that sense.
Yeah, and bring up the dad connection, because I mean, at its core, a lot of this movie is about family as well as football. So just adding a little bit more of his family that we don't necessarily get to see. It's good.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm going to talk about those dirty, dirty Packers. Holy, did them dirty.
Oh, I thought you were a cheesehead.
Cheesehead Packers, cheesehead.
Wow, the connection
their
didn't
helmets
make
are
it.
yellow, crimson.
Goodness.
Their helmets are yellow, crimson.
Oh, that's okay.
No, Wisconsin, Green Bay, they are the cheeseheads. That's where the cheesehead foam hats come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I'm at the knowledge of that. I don't eat the hats. What was I gonna say?
I would be concerned if you did.
Oh, if you did, you'd be the goat.
My stomach would be concerned as well. But I'm curious how much of that is accurate, or if it's slightly heightened for the film. Like he didn't listen to try the plays, and now he's off the team, or if it was a bit more nuanced than that.
I can look it up if you want.
I feel like a lot of places kind of
it seems like
do that.
You wouldn't just do like a $5,000 sign-on bonus, have them travel all the way there, then be like, all right, well, strike one, you're out, I guess. I don't know. It's possible, but I'm just curious if that's how it went or not.
Yeah, so a lot of teams do that. They do give people sign-on bonuses to try out for the team. Like if they want the person, they'll pay them to try out and stuff like that. And then if they flunk, they flunk. It is.
Yeah, he just didn't have the
NFL
chance to flunk. It's kind of the thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the point of it is that he wasn't willing to try, because even though he didn't know the playbook very well, he's afraid to go out there without having studied the playbook, which is something about him. But it's one of those things where I can buy it with that is. I do think they probably expedited it. I imagine he was there longer than a day, or two, in compared to movie time, but it's expedited. It works because it would essentially result in the same thing if he was too hesitant to jump in. But I'll look it up anyway. So, Springs, throw a point out.
I just feel like there are situations like that where the opportunity is given, but it's hidden. It's like, oh, do this. It's like, I don't know how to do this. Can you teach me? It's like, I mean, that's a perfect opportunity. Everyone's there to be taught, but it's also a way to show off because you want to be on the team, but you already signed on. So I understand like his mental headspace, like you're signed on, you're already there. You came all the way, you're accepted there. Why is this one test of opportunity the make it or break it situation?
According to what fact I could find, declining to participate in a drill during training camp played a significant role in Kurt Warner being cut from the Packers.
Okay, significant, but not the only. So
Yeah.
okay.
So I think the film did a good job portraying this significant event, but it would, I guess, again, it would probably screw up the pacing if it was longer. But I don't know. So
Maybe. I mean, Brett Favre was there.
that is true in this era, right? I think so.
That was the
Still the
90s.
Favre era. Yeah, well, it's still the Favre era, or it's the start of the. When did Rodgers start playing? It might just be.
Football.
I say Brett
Yeah, I
Favre
know.
because the coach said, Brett, go do that.
Yeah, Favre is, I think, the starter, obviously.
But I guess I can jump to something else since you asked. The kiss in the garage. I know the two of you are very big on romance and chemistry and whatnot in films that we've covered, and TV shows for that matter. I think that kiss of what Brenda was complaining about, being like, oh, can you give us a moment in the garage and like, how is this going to work? Are you sure this is going to work? I think I took that kiss as like the firework test. And I guess it worked.
Yeah, I could buy that as the firework test. I think it's easy to read into it. They've had a lot of meaningful conversations during the day. They got to know each other properly, and now Brenda's trying to imagine their future together. As Kurt says, "Us, that's good." So yeah, I can easily see that as the
Yeah,
firework
I
test.
can see that. I mean, I kind of just saw it as a lustful urge, but I guess it
It
could
could
be
be
a
that too.
fireworks test.
It could be both, people.
I suppose.
Can
Yeah.
be.
I just.
Fireworks tests can turn into lustful urges, okay? It is a human
Yes.
thing.
Just over the complaints or concerns. I saw it as a test like, oh, I need to check if this is like, if there's a spark here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he already passed the arguably the emotional test earlier by letting her tell her story of what happened with the Zach and her history as a Marine.
True.
That's true. He's already carried her baggage a little bit, so I got some trust.
Which is good because she has trust issues from Brad.
Yeah. Understandable trust issues.
Brad.
It's always Brad. Fuck Brad.
It's a good
Brad Pitt.
I guess Brad Pitt's good. Brad, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to remember.
It's
Did he cheat or did Angelina cheat? One of them cheated to date each other for during Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I don't remember which one.
I'm pretty sure it was Brad Pitt that cheated for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I can't recall.
But it's been a while since I actually read up on anything regarding Brad Pitt.
If it is him, then that doesn't back the good Brad thing.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm making a joke because a lot of the times, if there's a throwaway douche bag of a guy who's usually tends to be named Brad, it's kind of a stereotype.
It's pretty common, yeah.
I can't think of one good character named Brad in like fiction coming to mind.
Yeah, me neither.
Yes, I think I'm in agreement. I had to run. I had to run through my memory of stuff too. I think I can't think of any. All right. I will jump to I one of the things I respect about Kurt Warner, both as a player and a character in this film, he directly likes to address the problem that's plaguing him, and that's a through line for him. He likes to take his problems and head on as much as he can. So when the coach is not putting him back in, and the pocket presence is the reason, he his determination convinces the coach to just run him through that drill over and over again, so that he can be a starter for the last 13 weeks of college football, something like that.
Yeah, something around that range.
So I do like that. Again, his coaches aren't heartless, but they are strict. So he's like, okay, if you have the passion for it, all right, and you want to fix it, we'll fix it. And then they do the Kill Kurt game, which funny nickname. But I do like I do like how it's portrayed. I guess from Kurt's passion is the reason as to why he's able to want to start that in the first place to improve as a player.
And that leads into one of the time things I talked about. Where I'm like, I would like to know a time frame between when he got the first arena offer at the cafe to when he eventually accepted it. When he's like down in the dumps and stuff, needing money, and he takes the job. I want to know how long that was. Was it a couple months? Was it a couple of years? Because he was only part of the arena for one season, seemingly, and then he got picked up. Um, so to me, it seems like it might have been years between the offers, but I don't feel like it was portrayed that way. There's no way of really reading it.
Yeah, I think they covered the emotion and everything, but I'm not 100% sure on that timeline. I can look up again. I'll look it up how long he was in the arena for reals. Give me a sec.
I would guess a couple of years. Being that it's all within 7 of 92 to 99. Do we know the draft he was what year the draft he was expecting to be for was? What year?
Let's see. I have no date written down on that part of my
Because if
notes.
it's the start of the movie, waiting to be drafted from college, that could have been 92 itself, or 93. I guess the following, because it said September. Yeah. So that could be 92, fell out. Then you got 7 years after, and if the arena was only 1 year, 1 season, then yeah, I would say it was definitely at least like 3 years.
Yeah, so his undraftedness happened in 1994. That's where he went undrafted.
Oh, 94.
His time in the Arena League was 95 to 97. So he was in the arena for 3 years. No, the 2 years. He was in the arena for 2 years.
Okay, this movie doesn't really portray that.
No, it does not.
No, it does not. I would agree.
So I do think it's on the film for not really establishing timelines here.
Yeah, I think I mean, the quick fix is just add a date in the corner.
Dates or something in the background indicating a time or a date.
I'm saying dates because I don't want to overcomplicate anything, because adding stuff in the background, right, might like.
No, I'd say don't do
we
it.
We already had a debate over the calendar. As an example.
Don't do it in the corner. Do it as they've done dates already in the film, as like a transitional piece, like the tornado situation. It shows where that is. Just put a date for that.
Yeah, okay. That works for me too.
Yeah, I mean, they could even do it by Super Bowl. Like, his first draft, they could have said what Super Bowl would that year be. That could be something. Maybe sprinkle it around. I don't know. It's just, they didn't do a good job. Actually, I don't really feel like they tried to establish a time.
Yeah, I think the movie is well paced. They don't necessarily well paced enough to the point where they don't need to do that. But because it's a biopic, I feel like getting dates across is more important. So I think I'm with you guys. I think making the timeline more clear and just have it be transitional pieces with dates. I think that's all you'd really need to establish that.
Because, well, that gets into that later. I don't know. We're going over our king stuff. The Ram guy tried to reach out to him for a long time, as he said. Now it kind of feels like he could be calling for 2 years, but in the movie it felt like it could have just been a few months. Because it just feels like he was in there for one season.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Springs, you can add on or show someone else.
Oh boy, I'm getting quite thin on this act.
All right. Well, I guess I'll open the question to everybody. How is everyone's Act 1 notes looking before you go, Springs?
I think I'm also running low.
All right. We'll do one more each then.
Okay.
That work? Or two more each?
I could say this for the last act, but it is in this first one. I don't know if the televised footage is that all real footage or is that made for the film footage, or is it both?
I think a lot of it is archival. There are a couple, at least at the end, that you can tell is the new stuff of like Dick, played by what's his name, Quaid,
Dennis Quaid.
something Quaid, Dennis Quaid. He shows up on the TV sometimes, so you're like, okay, that's a current thing. That's not an archive footage. So I do think it is sprinkled, but it is mostly archival when it's news, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if you have an opinion on that, Ryder.
Ryder might be looking it up.
No, I'm not looking it up. But I would say, because I would say the most of the TV stuff is probably real, but there are a few exceptions to that. They especially by the end, because the end starts blending it more and more until it's just the archival footage.
Um, and Sprinks, is this just like an observational question, or do you have a critique with it?
Well, I think it looks really good. I have a critique more with it in Act 3.
Okay. Then yeah, we'll
Yeah.
bookmark that because that will be a
Yeah.
discussion.
I imagine it will be, because I kind of know where you're getting at with that, and I guess we'll get there when we get there.
Oh, Ryder, I do have a question for you because I'll probably forget it. You
All right.
mentioned that there was something in this that you were expecting but ended up not being here. Um, what was it exactly?
Oh, yeah, I thought they filmed some of the football stuff in Madden, and that was just mostly the outside stuff that I was hearing. The Rams game, more specifically, is the what I've been told.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that how
Yeah,
that came to be as a
I hadn't
rumor.
seen the movie before, so I just shrugged. I'm like, that'd be weird, and that's kind of cool if that's true. But I watched the movie, and I'm like, huh, guess that's not true.
I also have a question for Ryder. How does a member get their number on a team?
NFL?
Yeah, is it like their
Oh, if
draft
it's NFL,
number?
they no, if it's NFL, they choose it.
Oh, they choose their number. Okay.
Yeah, you can choose your own number in the NFL,
Okay.
Assuming it's not taken already.
assuming it's not
Yeah.
taken already.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just curious the significance then of Kurt Warner having 13.
Dan Marino. That's why.
Okay.
Dan Marino's the widely considered to be the best quarterback that ever played who never won a Super Bowl, because Joe Montana beat him in the Super Bowl. Um, but 13 is Dan Marino's number, and that is why, in the NFL anyway, why he's wearing that number. I I don't know, and I think 16 might have already been taken on his team, because I get the impression that, at least Kurt Warner, how I understand this movie, would have probably gone with 16 because of Montana. But yeah, he just picked 13. So
That'd be kind of interesting to sprinkle in the movie. The reason behind the number.
You said sprinkle a lot.
I have?
Yeah, I think that's the third or fourth time you've said it this episode.
Huh. Well, I'll stop because I don't like being predictable like that.
Oh,
No, it's okay.
your usage of
It's a,
the
it's a
word.
good
It's
term
me
to
as a
use.
person.
But yeah, no. Usually NFL players can pick their own numbers, and it's more traditional for a quarterback to have a number between 1 and 15, and that's so usually a lot of like other players don't pick within those numbers. People like to pick famous numbers of the position they played, like 54 for defensive linebackers. They love their 50s. Tight ends love their 80s because a lot of the best tight ends in history have had their numbers in 80. But that's not a hard rule. I know a running back who went from, I want to say, 18 to 1. So, like a running back who picked the number 1. So, it's not hard rules, but generally speaking, there are more traditional numbers you can have as a quarterback. Or any other team. But yeah,
Okay.
most people just pick their stuff.
Because I know sometimes with like draft day, not the movie necessarily, but like getting drafted, when they hand the players a jersey, it already has a number on it. Have they already determined that number?
No, the draft jersey numbers that are handed them are the numbers they got picked in the draft.
Okay.
So if you were the last pick of the draft, you would have the number 260 something. And if you're drafted number 1, you're going to get the number 1 on your jersey.
Okay.
So those are specifically draft jerseys.
Ceremonial stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. You both asked me questions for your last points. Do you have any last points you actually want to give out?
Yes, I will. I like that they, because we split it up into X here. Brenda being set up of her worries about his time being allocated to football and not to her and her family at this point.
Yeah, and you could again, the actress does a good job portraying that too, with the whole like he's gonna miss part of Zach's birthday for the draft. You know, you can see the expression on her face, that worry as well.
Rogue herself. Or, what was her name? Like Snooky or something in True Blood.
I have
didn't
not
watch
seen
True
True
Blood.
Blood. I know Rogue.
I don't think I know her in anything else.
I guess my final point for the act will be I like to see that when he's doing well in college, I like to see that Brenda's cheering for him at the bar because it shows that while it's not her thing she's invested in, but she's starting to like Kurt enough to be invested in what he's invested in, you know? So she's going to the bar to watch his games, which is nice.
Yeah.
It is.
And I guess with that, we shall. Oh,
I'm just looking at the repertoire. Oh man, she's in Castle in the Sky
No, well, I haven't seen that.
or Scream
I don't know what
4.
that is. Okay, that's a parody. That's fine.
Supposedly she has a credit in The Suicide Squad.
Wonder who she. That's the James Gunn one, right?
Yeah.
She might have been an extra voice somewhere, maybe. I'd be curious. That's for next time. I guess we will jump to Act 2, gentlemen, which is for when Kurt asks for an application at the grocery store. It's when he and his mom have a chat after a successful arena game. A successful arena championship game. And he says winning is never feel like winning. That one. And we started with Crimson, so we shall start with Sprinks.
Oh boy. I did a quick check in between here and there of good Brads. in fiction or whatever. Brad in Adventures in Babysitting. That's a good Brad.
Is he Thor?
No, that's Thor. No, Brad's the eldest of the kids.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the
That's a good Brad.
responsible one. But let's see, Act 2 here. At 43:17, when Kurt is having the talk with Brenda's dad in the garage, he looks at him in listening, and then I think gets asked the questions like, do you love her, with an automatic yes, I do, to check. The next shot of Kurt is his head straight on, to show, I guess, that those two scenes were filmed separately and not in tandem with like two cameras on them.
Just a continuity error.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with this budget, who knows how many cameras they had? Possibly just the one.
Yeah, I remember that as well, Springs. So I think you're right with it being a continuity error. I will jump to the grocery store job that he has. He does get recognized at the grocery store from locals. I do know that's true. So I think they pay a nice homage to that. The idea that this like really talented football player is now like stocking shelves at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish there was a little bit more of him hating the job at home or something. Because all we really see of it is he makes light of it. He sees the Wheaties box, he's sad, but then he's got a coworker that he plays around with. He doesn't seem absolutely miserable there. So I would have liked if they wait a little bit more into that when he comes home, he's just complaining about it and how he's not making his dreams come true and all that.
Maybe, but I don't know if that's in Kurt's character.
No.
And this is supposed to be one of his low moments. His dream is not in sight. He's a failure.
But he's still contributing to the family, and that is something meaningful to him. That's not pointed out to him directly yet, but he is already on the way to get there. So I kind of know where you're going with this. I don't know if I need him to be as run down, but it would be nicer to see him deal with more hardship, I guess, within that time frame, because he doesn't make light of it, but you could have an awful boss or something like that. I'm not saying that they were that in real life, but you could add, I think, some other drama there that I think would give you what you want without necessarily taking away, I think, who Kurt is as a character and as a person, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily hated the job. It's just
he just viewed it as necessary, I think.
Yeah. It was the coming home scene where it's like the heat was off and taking care of Zach. And Brenda's like, oh, I'm going to leave school and help out. And he goes, no, like, we can still make this work. We're making this work. It's still going to go through. I think that shows his headspace on, like, we're trying the best we can. We're going to keep it going. We're still fine.
Hear Crimson thinking over there.
Oh, is that what I'm doing?
I would hope so.
I mean, both things can be true at the same time, where he's doing it because he needs to for his family, but he could also not like it. So that's kind of just how I see it.
Like I said, I just don't think it's in his character to hate it. It would add another layer of drama to the film.
Yeah, what I can see him hating, which did come across pretty fine, which I didn't quite like, was when Brenda says it's not working out in the breakup scene.
What aspect of it didn't you like? His reaction, her reaction, or both?
Her decision on it seemed very much her own and not for him, because she just wants him to achieve his goal. And she makes it sound like prioritizing football is more important than the relationship the two of them have, and not working it out. When previously we see he's going through hardship, putting football on the side to help her out and the family. And he is okay with that. He's not torturing himself over it. He's not complaining constantly about it. He's not hurting her because of it. She is just doing like this as a gift to him, to give him option 2 when he is showing he prefers option 1. Because it's like a burden onto her. But what I don't like is it's not like, hey, can we talk about this? Especially with like, hey, I want you to give my honest answer, and he's taking in the information because he wasn't expecting that question. And he doesn't even get his answer out, which she goes, oh, okay, you didn't say it immediately, so I'm going to relay everything I'm feeling to break up. Which, rather than retorting of giving him space to speak on his part of it to try to work it out because they're in a relationship, it's just an automatic cut off from her. So I didn't like that at all, because it really didn't seem like an equal relationship then. It felt kind of toxic, that she was just going along with things and not giving her own sense of like sitting down and letting it fester and boil in her until at breaking point with this, where she posed a quote unquote rhetorical question to already have an answer for. I'm like, I don't know what Kurt would have done or said in 1 second to make her change her mind to hear him out. And he felt so, I like the acting because he felt so hurt just saying like, okay, yeah, we're done. Because it's so just like blindsided essentially of a decision. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, I liked his line of, I thought this was a discussion, but it turns out it's just a decision. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's a paraphrase. But he used those 2 words. But yeah, I did kind of view her as bad here, which I think is kind of the intent of the scene. So I think they came across with that pretty well. I guess psychologically, I guess she's tried to construe it to where she doesn't want to be the bad guy, like Brad, he's the reason the relationship broke it. And here, I guess she's trying to frame it where she doesn't want to be the one that breaks it. It's for altruistic reasons. It's for his dream. It's not for her not being satisfied with their current life.
Yeah, life has been rough. I do like the scene quite a bit. I do think it's not out of character for Brenda, but I do. Yeah, I think the intention of the scene is that she's in the wrong because she's doesn't realize how much value Kurt has already put on her family with regards to football, because Kurt very much loves both. He loves football and her family and her, but
he's showing especially with the Zach thing and the gas and in the cold, is that not showing such an act of love over that of football to show this is what he's chosen?
I mean, she's damaged a bit, and she's just afraid. And this was kind of her way of breaking it down.
Like I said, that comes from her ex and why she's got trust issues. And this is normal in psychology. That's how people carry that stuff with them for a very long time. So I would say yes, that is definitely an act of love on his part, but it's also his mistake, and it's also, she already has trust issues with him. Not him, but like in general. So I don't take much issue. I don't see this out of character for Brenda to interpret it that way, because again, being emotionally damaged can definitely do stuff to you. I mean, one of her kids is permanently blind because of what happened. So I think it works for me. But yes, I do think the scene is intentionally portraying her as bad, but I do think that's intentional in this scene. She's not. It's her demon that she still needs to get over.
Yeah, I guess my biggest complaint regarding it is how she reacted when he said fine. She had like a face of, oh, well, I was kind of hoping you'd fight for this more. It's kind of the read I got off her face,
Well,
which
yeah.
would be incongruent with the whole point of it to me. It makes
I
it feel
mean,
more manipulative than sincere, like she's trying to phrase it.
it would make her
Under the
feel.
toxic thing Springs is saying.
It would, yeah, it would make it more toxic, like Springs is saying, but also it would make her feel more justified, right?
If he fought for it or just went with it.
Well, if they argued, there is that level to it as well. And humans are weird. What can I say with their relationships? It's how you feel about the scene, Springs. I know it still probably doesn't sit high for you for Brenda.
No, I just think it's a weird placement after all that's been shown and portrayed over years at this point of their relationship to be such a toxic decision made on one side of the relationship than a discussion. Like this.
I mean, he brings that up, and she said, "Well, this is a discussion." So, in her eyes, it is. In that reality, from what we can see from the outside, it is not. But I cut you off again.
No,
what you're saying?
I don't know. Relationships are tricky, and everyone has different experiences and goes through them different ways. So, I'm not one of portraying like what's the way it should have happened. I just see it. This isn't like the 6-month mark. This isn't working. You're portraying this over that. I just feel like more trust has been built and everything of the two of them. And sure, Brenda has her own trust issues from her past, but at least express those openly to someone you care about, to Kurt, and then see Kurt's reaction and back. It just didn't seem to point for it to be toxic. I don't know if it's a movie moment because it's based on true events, and I'm sure they did break up because it's a big part of what happens to Kurt and then getting back together. But I don't know if the scene's to be antagonistic to Kurt, so he has like something to more balance and juggle with, or how 1-to-1 it is. It just seemed too unfair, I suppose, for what they have established.
Yeah, it's again. You're right. It's a very tricky thing to cover. I'm thinking about it in my head right now, and I'm gonna ask this question, I guess, in a different way. So, setting aside history, let's focus on just the film itself because that's kind of what we're doing. The goal of the podcast. Is there enough going on for Brenda within the context of the film for this to be okay? Let's say, regardless of whether what happened is true or not, does this scene still work as a part of the story, or is it incongruent with what you have been saying, Springs? Like, is it incongruent with the demonstrations of love?
I'm going to say it's incongruent. It would have been more so a conversation, and if the conversation then led to a tipping point of what Kurt's been saying or is telling her that she's not believing, like, oh, what you're saying is a lie. No, you love football. And he goes, no, I'm not. And depending on how the conversation goes for her to lead to making this decision, then yes. But it seems like she knocked on the door, can we talk, and already had the decision in mind without hearing what he had to say. Even posing the question, he didn't answer. Or didn't get the chance to answer, for that matter. So,
yeah, he does. I will say he does have the what's it called? I guess my 2 cents on it before I hand this over to Crimson. I'll just start there. Is I do think she did have the decision in mind. First of all, I do think I don't think Ken Brenda's character is broken for this scene because I do think it lines up with stuff we were set up about her. But I will say it's incongruent plot-wise with how the story has been told so far because, as you said, there's been demonstrations of that act of love that happened before. So I might label it down as the plot clashing with the character traits. Because while Brenda has the character traits of someone who could be this unintentionally toxic, I guess would be the best way to phrase it, or in the sense that like she could come to this conclusion on her own and kind of bulldoze the discussion because of what's happened to her. I would say that those character traits they don't fit as well into the plot of what's going on in the movie of how it's portraying its story. That's probably where I'm at with it after this discussion, because I do think there is something to say about all these in a typical story or movie, right? All the stuff that would have happened before this would have been changes incorporated into the character or other things incorporated into the character that would help them kind of learn a lesson or would help it when when they break up, that lesson would fall on her harder, which it does, but it still does present a bit of sort of incongruity, I think, for me, I guess, at the end of it. I don't know how I would. It might not rise very far in my damage letter. I think it would still be a nitpick because all the character stuff is there, but it's just out of congruency with the plot. All right, I guess that's my sense on it. Crimson.
For me, I think they did enough to get her to this position. The hard part for me is whether or not it's in her character to just make the decision instead of having the conversation. Because up to this point, she established the whole trust thing. You had him screwing up and leaving them to almost die in the cold. She was kept out of meeting him at the arena game because she didn't have a wristband. She sounded annoyed on the phone during the party, and then she saw that one of the players had like girls with them, so there's a level of like, oh, can I trust him to be at a party? So I think they did enough of her stress levels and the trust. It's just, is she the person that would skip to just the decision? And I think they did bare minimum. I think with what we have in the film, there is enough, barely. That's where I'm at.
All right, it was your point, Spring. So
for me,
the topic?
I'm not.
Yeah,
it's nowhere on my damage ladder, but it is a subjective hit to me because relationships are very tricky, and as I said, everyone's different, and I can't say my point of view on how to handle a situation is the right or wrong way of doing it. But I do think the coming already with the decision being made without hearing Kurt's side of things to try to convey his beliefs or feelings or anything, where I feel like she should have more optimistic hope in having a partner to begin with to be okay with, and not being like, this is who I am without hearing his word, is poor taste.
I agree. It's not a preferable relationship moment.
Yeah.
If I had a partner that acted this way, I would not be happy about it.
Yeah, it checks out in, I guess, for you, Crimson, because you don't really like when there's obvious toxicity that comes into relationships and stuff like that. And I guess on the the levels of like how close is this to Jenny from Greatest Showman? On the level to this to for Jenny, the Greatest Showman. Where do you rest with it?
The siren.
Don't. I would say don't compare the two. That siren bitch is way worse than Brenda.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I do not like Jenny at all.
I know. I know. Like I said, I'm saying it kind of tracks for you. You kind of hate when obvious acts of love are either ignored or overlooked for the sake of someone's personal POV, because that's very toxic in relationships.
I hate when loyalty's established and it's easily changed. I hate that.
Yeah. and this is, well, we're comparing apples to oranges. This kind of falls on that scale, but if the Jenny from Greatest Showman's a 10, I would imagine this is a 1.
Oh yeah, Jenny's really high up there.
I'm
I
making
don't know.
arbitrary numbers, so don't think too
I
hard
know,
about
I
it.
know. I just, again, the main complaint of me is she already came with the decision made,
Yeah, checks out.
which is
All right.
already entering the room distrusting his loyalty when he's done nothing himself to show that it's off. It's just the events of activities around what's happening is what she's believing in.
What is this? Are you paying to break up? You were the one breaking up with me. What?
I suppose that is a little weird. Was the touchdown money like his trophy? Because wasn't that to help fund like heating bill and everything?
Yeah, it was to help out the family. That's what it was for. That's why he was playing so hard. So I do like that he still gave her the money.
Okay, so when he went back home, he was going to give it because he's not at home currently.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes complete sense.
All right. I think I touched on it a little bit. I really love his scene with his mom after he essentially wins like I think it's the semifinal championship or the final championship before the recruitment game.
Yeah, when they get to the state playoffs. I think.
I really love the scene with his mom because we don't get much from him and his mom, but the little scenes we do get are very emblematic of their loving and caring relationship. And I think the scene in the back, while there's the two of them are sitting out in the back of the truck, is just really sweet for me. Because she helps him, come to the conclusion he already feels,
Yeah, and recontextualize her, I guess, disliking of Brenda. It's just she saw herself in there and wanted better for her son and not a troubled life.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good addition.
I would agree. I kind of wish because we only have like 2 or 3 real scenes with her, I kind of wish we got another one. But
with her and Brenda later, I think would be good.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I do, but I do like what we have between her and Kurt.
Yeah, I think that's true with pretty much all the parents in this film. I think all their scenes are pretty well executed and serve a purpose.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I do like Kurt's scene with Brenda's dad quite a bit as well.
So, what's taking you so long? I just wanted to be able to prove myself.
Yeah, and it's a good advice. It's a very valid thing because I mean, personally, anecdotally, there's a point in my life where I just didn't bother trying to date people because I don't have a great living situation. So there's a point where you want to be successful for yourself first. That way, when you bring someone else into your life, they can share in that success. There's a level of like personal responsibility, I guess, that can come to that. So I get Kurt's point of view of wanting to prove himself first and be successful. That way, he can offer more to Brenda because he loves Brenda that much. It makes sense. There's a logic to it, twisted as it may be. And I think the dad offers a really good rebuttal to that.
Yeah, and the close relationship to where he's like joking around with Kurt of the Bears, just to throw in the was it the Rams? No,
Packers.
Who was the contact?
The Packers.
Yeah, the first one. The Packers called.
Yeah, and it's a layered joke because the Bears and Packers are in the same division, so they play each other up towards to 3 times a year.
Well, of
So when he's
course.
asking about the health of the
Yeah, I'm like, I
Bears,
didn't know if 3 was a
Yeah.
lot.
yeah, it is a lot. So, all right, some more football knowledge from Ryder here. Another segment coming up. So, uh, every team is in a division with 3 other teams. You play each team in your division at least twice, unless you're going into the playoffs, in which case you're going to face them again. So up to 3 times a year, you face your team, a team in your division, and that's why a lot of bitter rivalries are formed and stuff like that. The Seahawks, the 49ers, and Rams, they all flip and hate each other. The Broncos and the Chiefs hate each other. It's just because they share the division and they're very competitive with each other. Because to get into the playoffs, you have to be the best team in your division to qualify. So a team could be like a team could lose almost every game in a season, but they managed like they could lose more games than they win, but if they manage to win a majority of games in their division, they'll still end up in the playoffs. So the joke about being the Bears, like how do you think they're going to do this year, is because Kurt's going to be playing against them as a Packer. That's the joke. Another layer onto
Oh
the joke.
man, I'm glad
Yeah.
I missed that in the movie.
Yeah, it's such a good joke, guys. It's definitely for the football fans, that one.
I'm laughing on the inside.
Yes, it's too loud. You gotta calm it down.
It's real.
Yeah.
Ooh, Rocket Raccoon reference. Okay, so the car ran out of gas. I don't know why they couldn't check the dial and fill it on their way passing a gas station, even with the little they had to still fill it. But Zach has a fever. The storm's raging on. They say best to go to the mom's house because at least she has heat. So then they get in the car, they go wait in the car, goes to the gas station, gets the gas, gets to the mom's house, tucks Zach in, and Brennan and Kurt have their little talk. Where the heck is Jesse this whole time?
Well, Jesse's asleep. You can see her next to Zach.
Oh, was this the thing you thought she was missing?
I thought she was
Sphinx?
missing this whole time.
No,
No,
yeah,
she's
she
in the
was
car.
she was
Yeah.
laying like curled up in a ball.
Okay. Because I know they had her curled up in a ball when the two kids were invited to kind of like the date when Brenda and Kurt were in the back of the truck.
Yeah, for the ocean view or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The main reason that they passed the gas station is just because they didn't have the money for it. As far as I can remember, I can remember he was
Well, they
kind of
do.
scrounging around in the car for change.
Yeah, they have some, but I guess it was at the point where they thought they could make it without it. It's my best guess.
Yeah. But that is also a true event as well. Kurt Warner's car did break down when they ran out of gas in a.
In a blizzard.
Obviously, it's dramatized for the film, but he did run back and get some.
And that car was covered in snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question. How did Jim
Let's hear
Foster
it.
know where Kurt was to tell him about arena football?
Oh, at the cafe or whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I find
we're gonna
that
get to one of my.
that's movie moment.
This
to me.
is what we call absolutely convenient. Kurt Warner could be a famous local person. I could buy that. But as far this is, but with the way it's portrayed, this coach was going around to just every cafe in town every day, just like, hey, is Kurt Warner here today? No, okay, I'll go to the next one tomorrow. You know?
Kind of.
Could have followed him home from.
Well, maybe he
Oh.
went to the bar and got the address.
Yeah, the bartender just gave it up.
Yeah, bartender's like, oh yeah, I saw him go to the diner.
I mean, I with how the scene played out, because you're right in the sense he actually has no reason there. I thought Brenda's the one that called him. but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
feel
an
like I
idea.
think the film would have made that more clear.
Yeah, that's an idea. Don't think that happened at all.
Yeah, I don't think it happened at all. That's what I thought when I was first watching the film. I thought Brenda made an expression that it was something she had called him to try and, you know, give him his chance, even if it's an arena. But yeah, there's. I feel like if that were true, though, the biopic slash film would have made that a little bit more explicit.
Yeah. That look you're talking about, I think, was more tipped off like, oh, this is something you could do. They're offering it, join the circus.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
But yeah, I'm in agreement. Movie moment, super convenient. I'm probably having that at a Nick because it's an easy fix.
Same.
Ryder, what's the difference with arena football? They say it's faster paced, but I don't exactly know what that means.
It's like
What's the difference between arena football and normal football?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 50-yard field, so you don't have the full 100 yards. And it's a highly just. You don't have a. In between plays in the NFL, you have like 30 seconds to 40 seconds between plays, I think. So you can talk to your coach, get a play, huddle up with your players and stuff like that. You got like, I think 10 seconds, I think, in arena ball or something like that. You have a much shorter time.
It also looks like no mercy rules. Like it's brutal.
Also looks like there's less players.
Well, it could be the field. It certainly is a smaller field.
Yeah. An indoor venue.
Could be a bit of both of what you said. I'm not as familiar with arena ball. I legitimately haven't watched a single game.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. Let's see. Springs took one of my points, so I will go to.
Good job, Springs.
No, it's fine. Again, I'll do the first barn game that Kurt has. He gets drilled because again he's not letting the ball go fast enough, and he was warned about that. So I like that again. He immediately tackles the problems, whether he approaches coach or not. Immediately tackles the problem, just doing drills in the middle of the night. Just gotta let that ball go in 3 seconds. Gotta get it out fast. And it's just another thing adding him onto his skill set that he's going to need, and which is going to make him super successful in the NFL.
Something I'm a little conflicted with is the way they kind of framed it. Seems like he was kind of monetarily motivated and less passion driven. Obviously, he needs the money for the family. But once it was like $100 per touchdown, that's when he started doing good. He was doing poorly before that. So I'm just like, we're led to believe he's super passionate about football, but he kind of sucks unless there's money involved. It's kind of the vibes based off that. I know that's not what they're going for.
Oh, that's not what I got at all. I got the funds were
That isn't
motivation to, okay, I can do this to help my family. Not so like, oh, it's just a passing hobby kind of thing that I'm not interested in because it's not what I want to be.
It's not the NFL, but he realized he can have fun while supporting his family. I think that's the main thing I got from it.
Yeah. And also a 50-yard field, it's like, oh, I can throw to end zone to end zone.
Pretty much,
Which
yeah. There's
I did find it a little movie moment-esque that every single pass they portrayed, it's like the other team is just leaving guys open.
There was one really blatant one. There was nobody even close to the guy that caught the ball.
I mean, it happens in the NFL sometimes. The offensive coordinator could scheme guys open sometimes, and it's insane
That's
to
true.
watch. But yeah, I think for arena ball, again, it's fast enough that I don't take an issue with it. But yeah, I don't know enough about arena ball. Taking issue with it.
Looking
I'm
over
running
my
through one act two.
Act 2, I think I got
Yeah.
one more.
I was just about to ask, how are we looking at Act 2? So, one more each, I guess. If you could find one, Crimson.
I'll peruse.
Okay. But Sprinks, since you got one already,
Sure.
fire away. I'll go next.
After the scene we talked about earlier of Brenda breaking up with Kurt, the next arena ball game is desaturized, which I think is good. It shows like emotional turmoil and sadness weighing on Kurt and how it's affecting his play, like the gloomy look to it, because it's a lot duller, a little more blue overall tone kind of look, opposed to when it was first introduced over arena ball, and you got the flashing white lights and the very vibrant green turf and stuff like that.
Yeah, to add a little bit more to what you're saying here, because it goes kind of, it's somewhat adjacent to one of my points, which is the scene right after with his mom. There's that bright yellow light that's there, kind of illuminating them again. So it's kind of slowly pushing away the desaturation, which I think is thumbs up, because that's obviously he's getting some heart back in that following scene. And I will go to him arriving at the first camp as his new coach like, hey, getting sick, tired of waiting for the NFL, and it's like, yeah, a bit of both. And then they obviously they're practicing out in the middle of nowhere. It's definitely a tonal shift that I think they do a good job for Kirk digesting quickly, because I can't tell if that's his old roommate from the beginning of the film or if it's somebody that he used to know, but I think it's his old roommate.
No, I think that's a HUD
I
nut.
couldn't tell either. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Hudnut. Yeah. Um, but the film didn't linger on it being Hudnut long enough for me to, I guess, digest that it was actually him.
Because the last we got of him was that he moved.
Yeah.
So I guess it would just be a small world that they're met up again, but it's just based on events, I guess.
Yeah. So I do. It's convenient that Hudnut's here in the movie, but it could have happened in real life. Probably did. So I'm gonna just say, I guess it checks out. All right. I will turn over to you, Crimson, for your last point, or shall I jump us to Act 3?
I got something. So the scene where Kurt and Zach are sitting watching football together is a good moment, especially since Zach can't watch it. Just a bonding moment. Well, I think would be a good time to put Jessie in too, to show that she's kind of taking an interest in Kurt's life. Because
She's old enough, yeah.
yeah, she's old enough to know what it is. It's a bit of a bonding that we don't get between them through the movie. It seems like an easy thing to put in there.
Yeah, I think the first bonding moment they have is at his wedding with Brenda, right? She asks him
father-daughter
to
dance.
dance with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only like one-on-one bonding moment that I can think of. But yeah.
But apart from that, what we have with him and Zach is good there.
All
That is
right.
it.
And I guess we shall jump into Act 3, which is from. Actually, let me pull up the act list because I wrote it down. When the tornado kills Brenda's parents to the end of the film. And I will start. So I like that. Obviously, Brenda's in a really rough spot with her parents dying. I do like that she calls Kurt, because Kurt's obviously a nice comfort for her children, regardless of what happened in between them, and knows that he's still supportive. Um, that being said, it I, I felt a little out of the blue for me. Um, I don't really have anything objective to say about it other than like it just felt out of the blue for me.
Well, you
It's
can't
another
exactly.
example.
Sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say you can't exactly predict a tornado killing people.
That's true, but I mean more so like why Brenda would call him. I mean, I gave all the objective reasons why she would, but I think there's subjectively something missing for me there.
For me, I think it has to do with the pace of the film and the time. Because they just had
Maybe
like the
that could be
breakup
another
talk
fact.
shortly before this, and then boom, massive event that brings them back together. If we had a period of time established between the breakup and this, I think it would make it a bit more viable. But because it was so shortly after the breakup, it's like, all right, and now a tornado comes to bring them back together. I think because that's kind of vibe I got. It's like it felt shoehorned in just as an excuse to get them back together. Though I'm sure it happened in real life, but how they placed it in the movie so close just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I'll Springs. What about you? Does work
Um,
for you?
the pacing in the movie, I suppose, is quick, but then again, it's not necessarily the focus point of like telling the life of a story, and more so Kurt getting into the NFL to claim his MVP. So I'm sure there was definitely time before, but in the pacing, it's like this to this to this. I fully understand Brenda calling Kurt because Kurt is not a bad person. They didn't end on bad terms. It was just she wanted the best for him of what she believed was for him, whether he chose it or not, but that's what she saw of him. So she still ended it for a really good guy who is fine with her kids, loved her at a point and everything. So calling him made sense because the kids trust him and get along with him. Um, but I suppose it is also more to me the first like hour and 20 ish before he basically gets into the Rams and Dennis Quaid or Dick is like, yeah, you're on the team. Everything up to that, this movie is like a tragedy movie. Which is constant like bad news, bad things. This happens, bad news. Uh, so the tornado is just another element into that, but then it also, I mean, they already left Brenda to move, and that got demolished by the tornado. So it gives her more of a sense of being alone, and to then fall onto Kurt. So in the shape of the movie, it
Yeah,
feels like the
I think
tornado is a uh, leaning point into the relationship because of the loss of parents. But in reality, I'm sure it had far more to do with timing and trust and changes and whatnot. But the movie didn't
yeah.
give all that.
I Yeah, it's a pacing thing from the movie, but I would assume that the biopic is somewhat close to reality, even if it has to obviously rapidly get the pacing across. All right, Crimson.
All right. I'll skip to the very end where I'll continue, I guess, the pattern at this point for me, and that's talking about the where they are now segments, the little blurbs. Much like in Remember the Titans, where I felt like, what was it, Yosh or whatever his name
Yost.
was?
Yost.
Yost. His final blurb did not mention if he made it into the Hall of Fame like he wanted. Here, they mention that Zach continues to defy odds. And at which point I'm like, how? What is he doing? Did he become a driver or what has he done that's continued to defy? So that part annoyed me because it just felt like filler nonsense that he didn't have to put in. What about
Oh,
Jesse?
no, 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 no. I see that as just like Zach's still alive at the point of this. Finding out it's because it was the whole thing. It's like, oh, his brain swelled. He might not live very long. He might not be able to walk. He might not be able to talk. And he did all that. So defining odds, I say he's still
Yeah, that's
continuing to do
past.
that.
I mean, there was no hint in the movie that though he still had life-threatening fears. All that was left was the blind. So I thought that blurb was superfluous. It needed what he has defied since the events of the movie.
Interesting. I thought it was a fine send off. The blurb that I didn't matter to me because it didn't really be a thing in the entirety of the movie was Kurt getting a relationship back with his dad.
Gene Parmesan.
Yeah, that no, not Gene Parmesan. I feel like that's something like Kurt's like, oh, can we include that in the movie? Kind of thing.
It's possible.
It could be.
Because it had nothing to do with the movie.
I mean, his father was mentioned as like a motivational. I mean, his reason being football. So.
His father motivated him to get in football. It does, the only important role it plays in is the monologue he gives Brenda when they first meet in the bar.
Yeah, you have that, and then
their relationship is strained at that point.
And I suppose the relationship of Zach then to Kurt, and vice versa, of like Kurt being a dad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really bounce off of a conversation of explaining, oh, my dad wasn't around, I don't know what I'm doing, kind of thing. Like fear, trying to do better than my dad. None of that. Even the talk with his mom, that's not talked about.
Well,
unless I'm missing a detail.
It's a film. So, yeah, I think the weakest one is the dad one, but it is referenced once in the film. This is where it gets interesting because how much does the biopic trust you to like carry on reality, and also versus how to that so like, you know, because of what we see with the mom in the film, do we need a conclusion slide with her, right? And in the same way, you would like, okay, well, we're gonna have Zach get a concluding slide because obviously Zach is the kid that connected to Kurt Warner the most over the course of the film. So it's a balance when you're trying to, I guess, pick out which character you want to give a where they are now conclusion to.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of these. I don't know. Sorry.
I'm like, I don't think a conclusion with the mom would need to be there for the blurb. They didn't end on bad
I don't think so
terms
either.
or like you really relied on her kind of thing. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine as well. But obviously, in the opposite vein of that, right? It kind of makes sense that the dad is there because he's not really a part of the film outside of being mentioned as an important part of why he went down the football path.
Yeah, once his son became a millionaire, he brought himself back into his life.
We don't know if that's true.
Negative
but that's
outlook.
definitely an interpretation. All right, Spriggs.
Yeah. This act has my favorite scene in the whole movie, and that's the proposal scene.
Will you let me put up a question?
I think it's the best thing in this movie. It's so well done. It's good build-up. The pacing of it's great. The music's swelling. The chemistry between the two. The emotion they share of holding back the love while like covering it with humor. I thought it was really, really good.
I've got a question that I don't know if you guys will have the answer for. Is the "Will you marry me" sign CG? It looked off to me.
I don't think
I kind of feel like it was.
I don't think so. I think it was just the depth of field focus with the camera because it would be a little more blurry.
That's kind of
because I rewound it when I watched it, and I'm like, something's off here.
Well, I
think I'm with Spriggs
the Rams game. Something's off there, but
when he's stepping out on the field,
everything of that game looks weird.
Yeah, like I said, once I saw the Rams game, I'm like, okay, I could see why people thought that this was filmed in Madden. That's where I was at with that.
But no, I think the sign was just in focus while they're in focus, but they are more foreground, so it looks off.
Okay. But as a proposal, it was a good one. The chemistry between the two actors, I did feel um, much more than in um, Draft Day. That was the one I said I felt nothing for. This
Oh
one I
yeah.
felt something.
No, Draft Day didn't really have chemistry.
And to add my bit onto it, I think my favorite parts of the proposal scene is just the very human aspect of it, because it obviously when doing a proposal scene, you want it to feel real and like unscripted, and I think the interruption bits add so much to the scene for me as a writer, and but also as like it helped making the scene feel real. Um, because it just makes it feel more human. So I agree. Proposal scene is really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Well,
think if it's my favorite scene in the film, but
I was gonna say with that, I guess I'll say my favorite. I guess right while you're deciding whether or not it's yours or not, um, it would be the final game in the I guess earlier segments when it's cutting between archival footage and the movie. I liked it when they spliced it during a play, during the later part of the game, and they were kind of just like hike, and then it cut to footage. But the earlier ones where they're like running with the ball, and then it transitions to an archival foot scene, and it seems very seamless. I thought it was really cool. So that was kind of my favorite bits.
The transitions of the one back and forth of those, I do think is really good and smooth. I really like the look of the televised because I think it's like archived footage. It's not made or doctorized. That's why it looks really good, like it's straight off the TV. Going though to what's in the movie, look, the arena looks fake. I can't tell if they have like a field, but not the arena, and the arena is like green screened, or the like depth of field look to the people is off. Something about it is fake or looks fake, but I don't know what it is.
It might be depth of field, but I agree with you. Something seems almost plastered on in a way.
yeah, and I guess that ties into why I get why people thought it might have been Madden, because
It's digitally
outside of the
enhanced
close-ups,
somehow.
yeah, it's digitally altered somehow, and also the close-up shots with Brenda and his, Kurt's mom, I think, are the only times we see like an up-close crowd shot.
True, but
I
that
think
could
so.
might not even be a stand. Like, there's no shot of like showing Brenda in the stands and pulling out to show the whole crowd there for the game or anything. There's
Yeah,
like that stand shot could be a little set.
It probably is. Probably just a few chairs in a dark corner of the studio that they just filmed in.
Yeah, it just really comes across
yeah,
like they didn't have access to an actual stadium.
yeah. I
Maybe they
don't think
did,
they.
but I don't know.
I well, I know this they don't have the stadium because this is the St. Louis Rams. The St. Louis Rams don't have a stadium anymore to film in the 2020s.
Well, no, I don't mean
Well,
like
I mean,
for
it
the
doesn't
actual
have to be
team,
the
but
exact
for the
stadium.
film.
Yeah, yeah. I'll look it up since we're kind of talking about it. I'm gonna look it up. Give me a
Okay,
minute.
yeah. Why does it look so weird? Um, much like in Blindside, that I was baffled Kathy Bates was in the last fourth of the movie, introduced at like the last half hour bit. Kind of same thing with Dennis Quaid, introduced at like an hour and 16 into this movie.
Yeah, him and Mike. I don't know if either of you recognized Mike.
I did not.
No, he was in Fringe
Yeah,
for a few episodes. He was one of the bad guys.
yeah, that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, he was like part of the heist crew that could phase through walls.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was a surprise. The movie definitely took a shift once he made it on the team. It felt like kind of a different movie. Because the family stuff is pretty sidelined at that point. All the drama's gone. There's no problems. Now it's just him versus Mike, pretty much.
Yeah.
Once he's married, the family drama's over. There's no more problems anymore.
Yeah, then it goes into just football.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Okay, so they filmed. So you're right. They did a lot of painstaking choreography to kind of line up the. I mean, it's obvious that with the painstaking choreography to line up with the archival footage. But looking at the field that they're on, they looked at where they shot it. They shot it at the Cowboys practice facility, and so there is only low sets for crowds. So the stadium is like 3 times the size, obviously, in what we're seeing for American Underdog. Um, so I do think the entire background above like where the coaches and players are is all digitized, which might add to why it feels digitally altered.
So the field is real. The stadium walls are bogus.
Everything outside the field is fake, I would say. So everything that has to do with the crowd is CG. And the only exception to that being the close up shot we get of Brenda and the mom.
That's why it looks off.
Yes, I think they did as okay with it still, but it does look off.
I mean, for a film, 30 million in 2021 is pretty cheap for a movie. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it was delegated to the visual effects department.
Well, I'm sure over half went just to the actors.
Probably a decent chunk.
I'm definitely at the position. I don't think I'm going to hold the. It does look odd, I agree, but I don't think I'm going to hold that against the film.
I have it to the scene Crimson talked about of cutting between archive to that. Because it's very jarring.
Yeah, it's very cool what they did, but it is jarring. I like what they did, but I feel like I kind of want them to make the. I guess would it have helped if they made like the interior gameplay with our actors more grainy? Because it looks very very clean.
I
I
think
think that would be more
Yeah.
off-putting.
do less lower angled shots. So you don't have to green screen the back of your characters. Have more like top down, like looking at the field and the players.
I mean, to be fair, when they shot the footage, they didn't know how the final visual effects would look.
That is true.
They could have thought it would look perfect.
Yeah, but it's kind of
So
like
they didn't know they would have to adjust for that.
it's not 1-to-1 on the same level, but it's like when Ready Player One, when they're doing anything like showing the real life people to cut back into the game, like when the group of kids is running down the sidewalk and then it cuts to them being like Halo Spartans running. Like you get it, but
that
it
was kind of
is
like a
jarring.
sweep transition, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
I think it yeah, so I think I'm with you guys for more low angle shots. I get why they want to do what they're doing because they want the
They want it grand, and like he made it kind of make him look
yeah,
big.
I mean, I think the one shot that we need that for we already got. It's when Kurt first walks on the field and we have like the camera spinning around him as he takes it all in.
Yeah.
But I think after that they could have maybe tried to, as you say, like did more top-down shots. But I think they wanted to contrast it with the archival footage because the archival footage is already all top-down shots, you know.
I suppose.
So like
yeah.
feels, like I said, that's why I think they did the choreography a certain way to kind of blend the two together in a good way. Um, but I'm in agreement. It is jarring, but I don't think because as also Crimson does have a point, they could have thought that the special effects would have handled it. Um, so I'm not going to hold it against the film, but I agree with you guys that it is jarring. But I also like the way it's interspliced with the archival footage.
This film tackled a point that was made in Blindside. Of It was primarily focused on Michael in Blindside, and his team was nothing. There were no names and they were faceless. In this one, the team is faceless minus Isaac. How do you guys
and
feel
Trent
about
Green.
Isaac's? I wouldn't really say he was a member of the team.
Wow.
He didn't even talk.
It was a big name of the team that caused a lot of commotion when he got injured. So
yeah, but he wasn't. He had no interactions. There was nothing really. So Isaac, do you think he was warranted of having really much of a presence as a character, or would it have worked just fine as the archive footage thing? And Isaac made the touchdown or whatever because they did mention him in the archive stuff.
I think it's fine without it. He has like one interaction scene with Kurt.
Yeah, he warns him about Mike saying, and it'll be okay. Mike's just hard, and then during the game, he's like, "You doing okay?" That's
he's not the new Hudnut. He's just
no.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if it was like any movie moment a little with everyone apologizing to Kurt for his pass. Like he made one mistake, and then everyone on the team's like, "Oh, it's okay, man. It's fine. Oh, shake it off. It's fine." And then Mike calls him and is like, "Hey, I was hard on you. You're good." It's like, okay, everyone on the team doesn't have to tell him it's okay.
I mean, that's a real football thing, though. A lot of players will come up to you and just tap you on the shoulder. Hey, man, don't clear your head of it. We got it next time. That sort of thing. It's a very
well, that's fine.
It's the way the team tells you they have your back.
That's fine. He can walk to the bench with like people tapping his like back of his shoulder, or, like rubbing his hair or something, like, you know, team camaraderie. But the movie showing every single person coming up to him and just be like, "Oh, you're fine. It's okay. You're good." Like one at a time individually is a little overkill.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had the counter argument. I just see it in NFL games. I think the one that's over the top for me is probably funny enough the coach, even though that's the most thematically important one.
We got to establish his 180 turn or his acting skills. One of the two.
I would have had it as blend them all overlaid one another. Have like, you know, 5 guys all be like, "Oh, Kurt, it's fine," as they turn to watch the rest of the game, and then the phone rings while someone's saying like it's okay. The individual like 1-1-1 is prolonging it to make it longer, and Kurt's not moving down the line to like all the players to meet them eye contact. He's in one place. So that's why I have it the movie moment thing. It's like just like everyone gets their shot to tell Kurt it's okay, versus like the game's still going on. We're not paused. It's fast paced kind of thing. You got to get their play. So it's like everyone would, you know, if they want to say it all in an overlaid sense, and then go back to focus.
Yep, I agree with that. I would say the to kind of get back to what your original point was, Crimson, about the team not really being characters. I think it's more it works better here than it does in Blindside, and it's mostly because this film was focused on like his family. So the players also with him on the Rams are also new to, not necessarily, they're newer to him than they as the starter than since they had someone else in mind. So they know who he is, but maybe not a lot of friendships have formed yet at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because in Blindside I kind of rooted for getting more team. In this one I'm the opposite. I think we just need to get rid of Isaac. He's not really needed.
Being the team is
I think he's in the
scene.
movie, and
I think we don't need.
Yeah, I think the team is with Isaac, I think is fine personally. It's because it's helping ground the reality that he is part of the Rams, but we don't need to know everybody else because obviously that's only half the focus of the film. It's more on again the journey for Kurt to get there than it is necessarily of him obviously being besties with everybody on his team. And I think he gets there obviously in real life, but it's not relevant to the story being told yet.
And I feel like that's more for like the super football fans or, big Ram fans. They're like, oh, there's number 52. That's so-and-so. It's like, oh, 46.
That's Ray Lewis, baby. Woo.
Like something like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Ray Lewis. That name sounds familiar. Is that the...
Well, he's 52. Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, wasn't there like a Ravens member who's like went to jail?
I don't remember.
Chris Brown?
But
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what
like
team
I've heard
he was
about
in.
that. I don't know.
I don't
was
think he
one
went
like
to
accused
jail.
of beating dogs or something.
No, that's definitely not Ray Lewis. But
No, it's Chris Brown.
Yeah.
I could tell you. I don't know. I just feel like I heard something about a scandal with a player on the Ravens.
There's some controversies for the Ravens, but I don't remember any scandals like that. Then again, I'm not as up to date on my NFL scandals as I used to be because I haven't watched football actively for the last couple of years.
Okay. Ryder, I got a question for you. Unless Crimson can answer it, then I'd be surprised. I thought in the Packers game part, it was just like an expression or phrase, but they say it again at the Rams training. What does the first name Pop mean? Because he's being referenced as like Pop Warner and not Kurt Warner.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Okay.
I've been doing that a lot this one.
Because I didn't know if that was just a thing of what the guy at the Packers stadium would just say, like just pop anybody kind of thing. But being that it's at both instances, told me it's like a football term of some sort.
I think it might just be his nickname.
His nickname is just Pop? And both teams know that? Yet us, the audience, no one else has ever called him that?
I don't know. I'm looking it up.
Okay. I'm like, if that's the case, then I'll have that as an issue. Because that makes no sense.
I see.
But I
Kurt
doubt
Warner
it's
is
that.
called Pop Warner because Pop Warner is a pioneer and innovator of early American football. I mean, like one of the founders of American football. So I think they call him Pop Warner as a joke. So that might just be there.
So it is a
if you know,
nickname.
you know. It is a nickname, yeah.
I said issue. Yeah, I'll put that as an issue. That's weird.
It's there for the NFL fans. I don't think maybe a nitpick for me. I kind of wanted to explain it, but I had to look it up, and it's kind of funny and neat. So I'm going with nitpick.
Being that it's only said between the Packers and the Rams trainer or coach, and they have no interaction, and it's both connected to Kurt Warner, and it's not expressed anywhere else in the movie, that's where I have it as an issue. Because then it's like they're colluding about Warner somehow. Really weird.
If I was to put it out there, it'd be a nitpick for me. I really liked Dick's conversation with Kurt regarding him being like out of the game
Good for
for
the team.
14 years.
Yeah.
And how they're going to have similar sentiments about him being too old or rusty to be impactful. I wish we got a little bit more of them actually together, maybe like post game, because we don't really get much out of just celebration. That's all we really get.
Yeah, he just saw himself in him, which is why he gave him the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this suit as well. I can read a lot into it, but I think the fact that it's like more of a kindred spirit thing, which is really nice. And I like that it's framed up the same way of like the Green Packers coach calling him in to fire him.
Yeah, makes sense.
So obviously they're intentionally drawing parallels so that way when obviously he's there to accept Warner onto the team, it lands a little bit more, and it's a nice subversion, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say that the offensive coordinator, much like in real life, is very, very hard on Warner. So that's very true. Pretends he really hates him essentially because he knows the pressure that's going to be coming in onto Warner's shoulders during games and stuff like that, which is one of the reasons why he's especially hard on Warner
I was
because
about to
Warner's been
say,
at the game.
was he pretending? Because during the whole discussion, reviewing his footage and even considering taking him in with like the
He is
table of people,
he's not
he
pretending at first, but at a certain point it does become pretending because he wants to be the hard coach essentially.
and that's something I would like to see. Some like on a rewatch, I'm like, oh, that's where he flipped. I don't get that. You get him on the phone saying, "All right, he's ready," and then he smiles. I don't know why he got to that point. Last time we saw him, he was just mad at him and hating on him and stuff, and then now he's smiling and happy. I wish we got to see the character flip or his progression through flipping. I mean,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would too. It's not that I'm against the idea. I'm trying to think where I would want it. I think it would be in a scene with the head coach, maybe.
yeah, if we had a scene of head coach talking to him and being like, "Look, here's the pluses," or if he sees Kurt doing very well, surprisingly well, and that's kind of flipping him, like, "Oh, he might be old, but he's good." We have no scenes like that. It's just him bashing him. No scene where he does something well. He's like, "All right, Lucky, see if you can do that again, rookie," or something like that.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need him to flip, but we need to see him do Kurt Warner doing well, and we need to know that the coach sees that. That way, when he chooses to be hard the next scene, we know it's a choice. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So head coach again could work better. I think if we saw a scene where he flipped, it worked. It's functional as it is, but I do think it would have improved the film. I think with that scene in it, or at least knowing that we see that he's in watching Court Warner improve.
I kind of, I'd probably put it as an issue for me because we see it the whole time that he's bashing on him, even before he's even on the team. If he was like wary of him during the meeting, that's one thing, but he's adamant about it in the meeting. So it makes it impossible to tell when he flips. So I have as an
True.
issue.
That's a good point.
Especially screwing up is when he calls to say, "Hey, you're good," rather than everything prior being like, "No, this is where," he'd be like, "I told you so."
Yeah.
I have it as a nitpick.
I think I'm at. Funny enough, I think I'm at a Nick. Like I said, it's functional the way it is, but I think it because it's not really out of character for the coach, but we don't see the progression, and I do think that's a problem. Damage, whatever.
Yeah. I see it as you don't want to give this guy who's taken over for Trent Green, who you're mad about because Trent Green got injured, so this guy's going in, and you've seen him up to this point, to give him any more bad news to be weighed on his conscience. Give him something to clear the air, to try his best out there to win.
Yeah, I do think that's what the intention in that is for sure.
Yeah, we just don't see that snap of a change in Mike. Unless it was there the entire time, and that's why he's just being harsh, but that's really hard to tell.
Hence the damage ladder.
I will say I'm running low on Act 3.
Yeah, How about you, Crimson? How are you doing on notes?
How am I doing on low? I'm probably pretty low.
Well, all right then. Let's do potentially two more each. If you can't find two, it's all good. Um, I will start with the letter that Zach writes with Brenda to give to Warner before the final game. And I quite like this scene because it helps ground. It just gives Warner that last bit of encouragement, reminds him what's important in life, and then obviously it's a very sweet letter. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Good letter. I
Good
almost
motivation.
felt something.
You almost felt something.
Almost.
Oh, Crimson, you were the one who cried during what was that crap movie we watched for the pod? And you're like, oh yeah, I was crying.
Okay. Bad Santa.
Bad Santa.
It was not bad.
I'm like,
Is that what it was?
we didn't watch
No,
Bad Santa.
Devil Santa. What's the Jack Black movie? What's it called?
Dear
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
Yeah, when he was looking
Yeah,
over
that was
footage of
it.
his dead brother. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good scene. Yeah, Bad Santa, different movie.
Yeah, that's what I was confused. I'm like, we haven't covered that.
Not yet. So
I'm
many
glad you
Christmas movies
almost
out
felt.
there.
I'm glad you almost felt something, Crimson. You heartless bastard. You. I love you.
Yeah, well,
No, he's not heartless. He just feels things in really weird places.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel anything there?
No, I felt something in the proposal scene.
Yeah, I didn't really feel much other than there was chemistry.
Oh, you also didn't feel anything watching 5 Feet Apart. So
Shots fired. But also true.
I felt things. I didn't cry, but I definitely felt things.
yep.
All right.
Everyone's
Crimson,
emotions
go.
are different.
Yes. That way we're not robots. The kiss with Brenda after the game, I was just thinking to myself, okay, the way this is set, this has to be off of real events. And then later it is shown that that is like a famous shot, I guess. So good job on the film for, I guess, emphasizing it to where I was like, this had to have happened.
And then you saw it later that it really happened. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's a shame he didn't get taken out of the game, even though it was already. It's more of a reference to what Vontae Mack did during draft day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Giving away the game ball.
Yeah, but the
get
game was
booted.
over.
Yeah, that's why I have no issue with this.
How did Brenda get access to the locker room?
I
I know
imagine it's based
family.
off real events, so it's probably some special access to being.
Family does have access. I think Warner also would have probably taken steps to make sure that Brenda has access, considering what happened at last time.
Yeah, with the arena ball. That's why I was questioning it, because the arena ball is like, oh, you need this. People don't know who you are, kind of thing. I would have liked it on showing her walking there with the other, like someone like recognized her. It's like, hey, Brenda, you going to go see Kurt or something like that to know she's familiarized here.
Yeah, that's all I needed. To just have one of the players saying, "Hey, Brenda, nice to see you."
Yeah, I don't need like a scene of like her showing a badge to security or anything. Like just knowing that she's recognized here to be here would have helped, because
just have another player greeter. Yeah,
because it portrays like, oh, anyone can walk down here, which I feel like the NFL would be more security than an arena.
I take issues with,
but
yeah.
So I have a slight.
This is before 2001, so people trusted each other back then.
Oh yeah.
Before the dark times.
Yeah, you got to keep your shoes on.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, again, easy fix for this is just have a player greeter.
Yeah.
It works, but it just feels incongruent because of the arena ball scene.
Yeah, so I have a nitpick because it's not shown why this one works where the other one showed why it didn't.
Very valid. Um, all right. One more each, shall we?
Yep.
If
All
I
right.
got one.
If you got one, Crimson, you lead us off.
Okay. We kind of referenced it, but we haven't really discussed it. And that's the religious angle about it. I think they did a good job with his faith and moments where it was cracking. Like, why did God give me this dream if it's unattainable? Why have me suffer? And then during the game, he's like praying to himself and saying like "thank you" and all that stuff. So I think they did a good job spreading that throughout the film, not sprinkling it, to where it's not overbearing,
Also with
but enough
Brenda,
to.
I would say, in the bathroom when she's questioning God and is angry for taking her parents.
Mm-hmm. So I was worried when it was kind of an obvious like character trait that they might go overboard, and I think they did a good job with how much they put in.
I'm in agreement. Kurt Warner is devoutly religious in real life. They did roll it back a little bit for the film because they would be a major turnoff to like general audiences, and I think that is to the film's benefit because
You don't want to make it preachy.
You don't want to make it preachy, yeah. And obviously, I don't have an issue if a character is religious or not, but I get subjectively annoyed if a character is praying at me and being overly religious at me for like every like 20 minutes. Um, I do think the film does pay a lot of good homages to how religious he is in real life, but they do it in a subtle way that it never bothered me in the film. I just took it as, oh yeah, that's one of their traits.
Yeah.
Last one I got from my notes is during the like press conference where Dick and Mike are talking about the Rams. The music has like rally cry like battle drums in it, and I think it's the only piece in the movie that has that. And I think that's a good like lead in to the game that's going to happen for the last scene, last act kind of thing.
Yeah, and the rising tensions in the room as Dick and Mike duke it out, and then the one random guy that's like, "Well, he is cheaper than the custodian."
Yeah, but it does not sound as good as the rally music before the Quidditch World Cup. So
No, but that's a hard one to beat.
I don't remember that music,
That's
so I'm
the
just gonna take your word for it.
yeah, before the Irish music starts popping in. Oh, you're thinking the Bulgarians one, the dun dun dun.
Well, I mean that's them getting into Hogwarts,
Yeah.
but you were talking about the Quidditch with the Irish stuff, yeah.
Well, even still, when Victor comes on his broom, it's that like banging drum sound. I'm talking about like before when they go from like the tents to the field.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's all. Well, Harry Potter.
Sorry, we're not covering Potter. Sorry.
That would be a hard one to cover. World building alone.
They'd be lengthy.
Where's the time turners in the first movie, JK?
They're not there. It would Twilight affect it. It would only take place from the
Harry
fourth
Potter
onward.
would get obliterated by the last movie.
Yeah, that's because that's just JK's
that's
writing for you. Don't worry. I assume the show will obliterate Harry Potter for us.
Oh boy!
I heard the dead silence with Crimson, and he did not like I brought that up.
Oh man.
And yeah. My last point is, I guess, would be just more on Kurt Warner's like career here. We kind of skip from like his first like NFL game to like him going to the Super Bowl. I kind of wish we got a little bit more in between because it kind of feels like we rushed to the climactic point at the end. Like yeah, it's important for us to see that he got the Super Bowl in his first year in the his first year in the NFL, but it feels like we jumped there. You know what I'm saying? It might just be me, but I would have preferred like a small montage intercut between like I guess the slides or whatever that we get from other people.
Eh, I think it might just overfill the back end of the film.
It might, yeah. That's kind of what I'm asking. It might just be me wanting to see more of the football aspect, but
And from what we've covered so far, this is the most football we've covered so far.
that is true.
What's that mean? The most football.
Games, plays, football.
I don't know. I think Remember the Titans may have had the most.
No, every game there was like a few seconds. It would be kind of interesting to go through all the movies and like compile game runtime.
Okay. I guess I
Yeah.
misinterpreted what you mean. You mean footage of on-field play.
Yeah, football.
I don't think this season of a football season should be blanketed with just the word football.
A football game, football match, football practice. They're on a field playing football.
Oh,
This
well
is the
then,
longest we
then
definitely stayed
okay.
with the game.
Football movie 'cause it's talking about
Incorporating
football.
all of what you just said, Remember the Titans is definitely number one so far.
I will
I
say
don't know.
this game has the longest singular football sequence of a single game. Like, this is the longest we
Yes.
stay with a
That's
single
definitely
game
true.
of football. Um, all right. I mean, I was just more of a question, I guess, on the vibes of how we all felt about more or less just cutting to the Super
Oh,
Bowl.
let me tell you, this
Um,
is a football movie. In case you're curious, I believe this
yeah,
is a
there's no
football
debate
movie.
on that.
Yeah.
I hope there's no debate about this one.
I don't know. I think this is a character story because that's what you guys said in the last one.
The last one's a different movie.
I mean, yeah, this is a character movie, but I would say this is equally a football movie. I wouldn't say like I would put. I'm not
The
gonna get into it. I already said
football
my
is
piece.
not sidelined in this movie.
It is a driving core character trait. um, I will let's see. All right, yeah, I guess that's it for me. I'm skimming my notes here. So, does anyone have anything final to say before we go to summaries and ratings?
I don't think I
Um,
do.
yes, we get to
You
see
do.
like the real life counterparts of the characters we saw here. So I get to kind of compare the casting and see how they did. I think the best one was Dennis Quaid as Dick. He looked pretty accurate.
He looks fine. The
Zachary Levi didn't really
I,
look like Kurt that much
no,
to me.
I would actually think Mark. I would actually think the best casting is um, the offensive coordinator to the the coach. I'm gonna actually drop you guys a link if you want to see comparisons real quick.
Interesting. Um, then uh, Brenda was okay. I don't think she
Brenda's
was
okay.
good. I don't think she was bad. She was just fine.
I think the hair and makeup outfit really connected more to the live than the face. But
Yeah, I think they did. I think the casting was okay for the
yeah,
film.
and I don't know if
They
it's
did
just
great with some people, but everyone was generally okay, passable.
yeah, could just be me, but the older Dennis Quaid is, like especially this movie being 2021, looking at him, I think Harrison Ford could have also done the role.
I
Yeah,
thought it was Harrison Ford at first, and I was like,
Oh,
no, it's not. It was the voice that made me think it was Harrison Ford at first.
this was not a good hair for him though. This is not good
No,
Dennis
it's
for
not.
Quaid
Dennis
hair.
Quaid? No,
It was accurate though.
no. You want a good Dennis Quaid? Go to the
Yes,
Parent Trap remake.
remake.
Well, it is. It's not the original.
Yeah. Check out Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, that's my final point. Just discussing the casting.
So Dennis Quaid has been in 2 movies with snowstorms.
Typecast? Question
Fascinating.
mark?
Maybe? Was he in like an Everest movie?
Don't think so. Kurt Russell was.
I would, I guess, yeah. That's all my points too. I just finished going through my notes. So I guess we can move to summary and ratings, and we will start with da 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 Crimson.
Oh boy, me oh me, Crimson. Let's start with my subjective. This was a dreadfully movie for me. Yeah, there was maybe 6 times where I tapped on it and like, all right, how much time is left? I didn't really get into it. The characters didn't really intrigue me all that much. My favorite part was the final match. Um, so it's a 5. I was between a 4.5 and a 5 just for boredom, but I feel like 4.5 kind of puts that in territory with some other films we've talked about. So I'm having it at a 5. It's just not very engaging for me. Objectively, it's going to be a different number. Not a lot wrong with this. Cinematography wise, pretty decent. Not too crazy. Pretty average. The lighting's pretty average. Visual effects, okay. On average, I'd say it's passable. Um, the characters are mostly consistent. We had the talk with Brenda, whether it was in her character to have a discussion or just make a decision. And I said on my take that it was barely passable, and that's where I'll still stand on that. Jessie, not enough screen time to warrant her presence to me. She should be around more often. She doesn't have to be on the same level as Zach, but just around. Kurt's character balancing between his dream and the family he's building, I think, was pretty well done, and the dynamics between him, Brenda, her parents, it's all pretty decently weighed throughout. Mike would be probably the worst character because he flips and we don't really get to see when or why. It just happens. What more is there to say? Pacing wise, it's okay. There was a couple moments like regarding time that I think should be a factor and more discussed because like the arena did not feel like he was there for 2 years. And the time between the breakup and the tornado, we have no idea how long it is, but through the film, it feels really quick. With all that being said, I have it at an 8.
Alrighty, I'll go next, and I will start with my. I'll start with my objective. Um, I think the plot of the film is mostly okay. I do think there are some things that are incongruent here and there, just with the general of like how things typically progress forward in the story. It doesn't really break the movie at all. We talked about all the love affection for Brenda's, like whether the stuff had prior with Brenda hadn't even meaning. So it's one of those things where I think the plot had some problems in it, but I think the character stuff made perfect sense for Brenda in that moment. And there's a lot of stuff that again from the plot that helps feed that into it, but it's also ignoring other elements. So it's a balance. How to build up. Um, I would say the world building as far as the it makes sense. It's accurate to history. This is I think of the biopics we covered, this is probably the most accurate one to like what's actually going on. But the only issue with the world building is probably getting the timing of things down, which is something that Crimson's already mentioned. Um, I would say, character wise, I think everyone's consistent with themselves. Objectively, I would say, uh, because it's such a big moment at the end, I do think we needed something with the offensive coordinator. Um, and just to help transition the flip, I guess, to get the last bit of rallying cry. Um, and I think they do all the football scenes really well. I think Kurt Warner, his balancing his dream and family life, as Crimson said, very nice. I love it. It's done really, really well. And he's got his priorities in order. Like he sets his dream aside to when they're struggling in poverty to lock down. It's just good character traits that are kind of layering onto the character that are based off the person. Um, Brenda's good. I think an underrated element of this film is definitely the parents of both Brenda and Kurt. Uh, the one that lacking is obviously Kurt's dad, but I think the parents in the cases of for both families, they have some really strong scenes with Kurt's character and help influence him the right way and give solid life advice. Um, and again, with the kids, I think Jessie is not character, but she's here enough to exist. I would say Zach was well integrated, obviously, because that's the one that Kurt connects with a lot. Um, yeah, the teams are more collectively like characters, is what they feel like. They're not individuals; they're just more collectives. But there's that one person who just represents the collective. Um, and then at the beginning of the film, with his coach at the start of the film, I think appropriately restrict. Again, it's for the times in the NFL. I think he's in character well enough there, but I wish the film depicted, I guess, more reasoning behind the brutal training. Like the film needed to reinforce why Kurt needs to learn to stay in the pocket a little bit more. Um, and then also maybe illustrate how helpful it is for him to get rid of the ball quickly from the arena game, just to kind of help add on those skills that he's supposed to be learning and tacking on to make him ready for when he's, uh, takes over starting position for the quarterback, starting QB. Um, Otherwise, I'm with Crimson. I'm an 8. I don't really have much wrong with this film. It's, I think, fairly well written. I also like that it's fairly accurate to the person's history as well. Um, and I think that was all. I think it's all good. Um, I would say subjectively, I enjoyed this film more than I thought. I'm not quite at Remember the Titans level, but I think I'm at a solid 7. I because I enjoy football a lot, I like seeing the this true underdog story really because it's really happened and I think they dramatize it really well. Um, and I do enjoy Zachary Levi's acting. Um, and I enjoy I guess I enjoyed everybody. I think I'm not going to be turned into bad performance to where it bothered me or nothing super annoyed me. There were a couple movie moments here and there that come across as conveniences that did bug me. And like I said, that was damage the objective. But I would say that that's kind of what keeps this, I think, down from being a solid 8. So I think I'm at a 7 subjectively. I would watch this again. So that would leave you, Springs.
Oh boy. Let me start with my subjective. I enjoyed this movie more than The Blind Side because even though the first chunk of this movie doesn't have really football present, it has more football presence actually being shown with like the arena football and the college football than Blindside, which is like an hour and 10 or something before that pops in, or 50 minutes, 51 minutes, something like that. This movie, like throughout, is talking about football. and Kurt Warner wanting to do football and achieve his dream. Even though it's not really shown, it's still talked about and said. So I think this does that over Blindside more. So I enjoyed it more that this is, like, to me, definitely more a football movie because it's throughout the film. I think it has its highlights, but I'm not a huge football guy. I don't know, like, anything about arena ball. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't really want to give it onto the movie, but I do like in the podcast sense that we went from, like, drafting to high school game to then college to NFL. Like, we're on this gradual decline, very coincidentally. Like, that was not planned. So I do like the growth of me not being a football guy to watch these movies kind of in turn of where football goes. But yeah, I thought it was a fine, decent film. I guess I would watch it again. I have it as 6. It's good. I think I like the first half more than second half, even though second half is far more football oriented, with the actual game of the Rams and the practice and all that. I like the first half. I think plays better as like a tragedy movie of a guy struggling to achieve his dream, but putting his dream on the sideline to prioritize the thing he loves more, which is the family. Because even at the beginning, like, he's like, oh yeah, I want to football. This is my dream. And then he goes, hey, can you teach me how to line dance, to his friend to be there for Brenda and go to the next day to meet the kids. He's like, he's not running away. That seems to be more of the passion shown of Kurt than it is of football from the beginning. So I thought that was kind of like the more lead-in presence, and that I think they did that very well, and I enjoyed that. So objectively, I think this movie has good acting, not great acting. Zachary Levi I find as a welcoming actor in most of his roles. Now, whether you take that as a warm welcome or a cold welcome is upon the individual, but I do think he's very, like, smiley, welcoming in pretty much everything he does, and I think he achieves that too in this one. The supporting cast of everyone else with Brenda, Anna Paquin, I don't remember her last name, but the one who plays Brenda, I think she did very well, very emotional in bits talking about Brad, and then over the loss of her parents. I think those are, like, strong points. The conversation being based on true, always, like, how true is something, how false is something, or fictionalized. So it's hard to weigh in stuff like the conversation they have, or the proposal scene, or the marriage, or stuff like that. But I do think it's very realistically approached, which is good for something based on reality. I really do like that they got an actor to play Zach who is blind and not someone falsifying being blind. I think that's more authentic, especially based on real events. So I do like that detail. I think the pacing is clunky a bit. It really feels like long, dragged out, and then kind of quick points to make for, like, a plot point, and then moving on to, like, a little more drawl and then fast. So the pacing, I say, is off, but I wouldn't really say that's affecting the editing. I think the editing's fine. The cinematography is fine. Costume design's fine. Music, I think, is good. The writing, I guess, is good overall. I'm trying to think, like, my least favorite aspect of this movie would be, and I guess that would just be the pacing. But yeah, I have this at a 7, which I know does match. This could be in the recap. I know that does match my Blindside objective, which is fine in my head. They are at a 7 for different reasons to equal out being a 7 between the two. Just to mean,
yeah, I might have a few questions. I'm gonna have a few questions for you to elaborate on that, but it sounds reasonable to me thus far. So maybe in the recap, I'll ask you a couple questions. But all right, gentlemen. If that's everything, shall I read us out, or does anyone have any final comments?
Yeah, why was Alec Baldwin in this movie?
I don't
Was
actually
or
remember
wasn't?
where Alec Baldwin was.
Well,
I don't think he's in it.
oh, no, not Alec, the other Baldwin.
Kane. Yeah, Jane.
Yeah,
Kane.
well,
Jane
yeah, but
from Firefly.
Yeah, what's that Baldwin's name?
Adam
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Yeah.
Sorry, there's like 4 Baldwins. So, Yeah. Why was Adam
Yeah,
Baldwin
Adam
in this
Baldwin.
movie?
I guess we didn't really talk about his. I guess his conclusion, the reactions.
No, it's just such a small
I
role.
taught him that. I mean, I feel like a lot of the celebrity roles in this are like back burner. I mean, even Quaid's performance, he's probably got like 2 minutes of screen time.
No, he's got more than that, but I get what you mean. The whole talk with like acceptance into the Rams is more than 2 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes. Anyhow, it's not that long in the aspect of a 2-hour movie.
True.
Um,
Especially since he's on the face of the
yeah,
poster.
That's true.
I mean, Kathy Bates was not on the poster of Blindside, but Dennis Quaid is on this one.
Might be the highest paid actor.
That's what I was about to say.
It might just be that they paid money for him.
Maybe.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Thank you, audience, for listening, whether it be Spotify, Amazon, Castbox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, and Samsung, and even being our visual side of things, be it YouTube or Rumble or frickin' Spotify. Thank you for watching our PNG slideshow there. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe everywhere. Tell us how much you hate our opinions or how much you love them. And as always, I've been a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Strings.
And we will catch you next time. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.